All right. Howdy, folkses. I'm here despite the fact that no one's watching, no one's in the chat, and I don't really have to be, considering I did over 12 hours yesterday. But I told LDG that I would to make up for the fact that I ended the bonus part of the live 12-hour stream because he was asleep, Elihu was asleep, and I was being left alone, and I'm like, I don't want to be alone, and I'm here alone anyway. So I figure if I'm going to be here alone, let me do what I was doing yesterday a little bit. And I'll try to post some more stuff to the eBay store. Because why not? Shoot, where am I going? I haven't finished my damn coffee yet. I haven't had much yet, so. What should I put? Did I really forget to? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and post these guys. Star Cream. Fallen. No, it's not Fallen Kingdom. It's just Kingdom. Nope. So let's narrow it down a little bit. Brand. I think it was 2021. Still giving me the wrong one at the top. So Dracodon. You know what? We'll do Dracodon because he's actually part of that. No. But that way it doing it that way because it auto fills in a lot of the information, so I don't have to type everything in. Let's go ahead and add the photos. That is the wrong one. And if you want to come up, link is in the description. Open. So you guys can see that is not a zoomed in picture, but this is Transformers Kingdom. These are core classes. These only are about 4 or 5 inches tall. But we got Starscream, Rodimus, or Hot Rod, sorry, Rat Trap, Dracodon, Soundwave, and Megatron. They're actually still being sold for about $10 at Walmart. Now the store category will be toys and collectibles, Transformers. And yes, it is an action figure. We'll keep that because I gotta change the whole thing. There's War for Cybertron. Oops. Kingdom. Star. Scream. Megatron. Sound. That is not the right word. Soundwave. Hot Rod. Ran out of space. So, as much as I like proper punctuation, to get some extras, I'm going to go ahead and remove colons. I'll just put a plus to indicate more. Okay. Required. What else? Movie. It's not associated with a movie technically. How you doing?
Good morning, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm just peachy. Thank you for joining.
Did your stream net you some good results yesterday?
Very, very, very good results as far as I'm concerned.
Good.
I mean, the total was 425.
Yeah.
Which means I didn't have to eat the Pocky one chip challenge thing.
Oh, good.
Because we didn't hit the 500, but I'm not going to complain about that.
Right.
Because the only reason I put it on there is because LDG basically suggested it. And then as I'm buying it at 7-Eleven, because that 7-Eleven is actually selling them, he's playing his old videos of when he and Jedi Bill took it.
Oh no!
And it psyched me out. I'm like, because I'm watching him suffer, and Jedi Bill go crazy. And only to realize that this is the 2022 version. This one's technically worse by almost like like 300,000 or 400,000 Scoville.
Holy smokes, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, I think the one they did was like 2.1 or 2.2 million Scoville, and this one is supposed to be 2.5.
Oh, holy cow! Holy moly! Oh, dude, I would just keep some sodium bicarbonate, dissolved in water handy for that fire.
Probably, but I'm sure since I paid for it, I know it's 7-Eleven, but this is a store I go to regularly. I'm sure I could get a refund on it if I wanted to. But I figure I'm going to hold on to it because you never know when you need something to torture somebody, including yourself.
Right. Especially for money. That is the flavor of the day. Pardon me.
Well, technically, I'm going to say this is a TV movie. I'm still just going to post more stuff to the store That's what I did a little bit there. Did sell some Transformers, so might as well put some more on there, right?
Heck yeah. No, I understand. I understand. I mean, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I understand the gist of it, the flavor. You know what I mean? Like, I just got done doing a move. It was supposed to cost us like $8,000. It's supposed to be a lovely trip up historic Route 66. I ended up taking 3 months and over $35,000. Just, oh my goodness! It was it. If anything was possible to go wrong, it did.
Oh yeah, I've had those trips.
Yeah, so
me and the family went out of back when I was a kid to the Grand Canyon, and my mom was driving. It was me and my little brother at the time. We live in Southern California, so the Grand Canyon is not a huge road trip. It's not the entire Route 66. I've always wanted to drive that, but I never got the chance. Especially when I had 64 GTO. I really wanted to take that down Route 66 with the vile child when she got her driver's license, but unfortunately I had to get rid of it after my dad passed. But just through that trip to the Grand Canyon, we got a flat tire near El Centro.
Okay.
Had other issues with the car by the time we hit Yuma. We didn't know what they were, but my mom was like, screw it, we'll go ahead and get an oil change. Maybe that will, it was due for an oil change, but she thought maybe we'll go ahead and do that. So we got an oil change.
Right.
But by the time we got to the Grand Canyon, the engine was just knocking like crazy. And apparently one of the pistons had, one of the piston rings had gone bad.
Oh,
and the piston was actually causing shavings to get into the oil.
Oh no!
So by the time we got there, she parks it at a repair place to get it looked at. The guy tries to start it up, and the thing just explodes, bursting out black smoke. And she has to buy a whole new engine while we're visiting the Grand Canyon.
Oh!
We get a rental car. And the rental car dies on us at the Grand Canyon.
No!
So we had to get towed with the rental car back to where the hotel was. And then it starts snowing.
Yeah, people don't know that. It snows up at the Grand Canyon.
And we're from Southern California. We didn't pack pants to go to the Grand Canyon.
No!
So I was literally walking up and down the street, bored out of my mind, wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt in the snow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we were moving from Los Angeles area to specifically like Palmdale to the middle of Illinois. Now the wife and I bought a house. She's a real fixer-upper. And this first winter is going to be a little bit cold because the insulation's not so great, but that's okay because we had essential air installed. Right now, this house cost us less than 2 years of rent in Los Angeles. I got 6 kids, man. Like no joke. I got a Brady Bunch. I got 3 daughters, 3 stepsons, all mine. And so I can't do the small apartment thing. It just doesn't work, especially with my second oldest is now an adult, 18. My oldest is 20. She's high functioning autistic, so she lives at home. Trying to get her to go to college. So it's like, dude, I got it. Like I'm spending, almost $4,000 a month just rent and utilities in Los Angeles. And this is Palmdale. This is the desert. This is the Antelope Valley. This is outside the shield wall of mountains for those who are not familiar with the geography of the Los Angeles area. Don't
forget after 4 o'clock to put your thermostat at 78 degrees.
Yeah, right. Oh, for real. Oh man. No, I was talking to some of my friends
I'm
in
sorry,
LA.
man, but I saw Gavin Newsom say that, and I just had to bring it up.
Right? No. California's power grid is overtaxed. Y'all are gonna have to suck it up and put up with some heat. Open some windows.
Yeah,
Run some fans instead of the
let's just
AC.
hope that we can actually get some, additional power plants built. Because I'm still pissed they closed San Onofre.
Yeah, well, San Onofre is just aging and dangerous, and I don't like to.
If you look at San
Yeah.
Onofre even today compared to some of the ones that are in France or in Europe,
Oh,
it
dude.
was freaking as safe as it was one of the safest compared to Europe.
Yes.
So there was no point in closing it.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. In fact, actually, there was a small group, and there didn't get very much because the Berkeley crowd. The Berkeley crowd's where the anti-nuclear stuff in California starts from.
Oh God!
Yeah. Can you explain to me why is it the far left and the far right are both against nuclear power?
Because then their oil futures
what?
wouldn't be worth as much.
As far as being the guy who's probably the most conservative, most of you'll know, I don't get it. I mean, the science is really, there that overall this is a very clean and effective way, especially if you do it like we process it. Yes, there have been some incidents, but really not that many in a very long time. They don't have, I mean, the last one I think happened was, I think, in Japan, and that was due to the typhoon that came through.
Yeah. No, and Generation 4 integral fast reactors, the program that Obama shut down. I try to stay out of politics, but I'm calling it out where I see it. Obama and his democratically, his Congress, they killed the Generation 4 integral fast reactor.
They got the people that are all against nuclear power because they think it's going to turn everybody into a super mutant from Fallout.
Yeah, but the IFRs can't. Since Generation 2, the IFRs can't melt down fully. Like, if they melt down, the fuel rods melt out of the reactor chamber into a cooling system. Like, and they become just slag metal at the bottom, which is recycled. Like IFRs, you truck in 150 years of nuclear fuel and the waste is stored on site. Yeah. It's so tidy.
Not only that, one of the things that I was saying to somebody else was like, okay, why don't we just have, solar and hydro and wind that not necessarily run the power grid per se, but run accelerators to re-enrich the uranium that we're using for the nuclear and use nuclear for the our primary power source.
Well, let's be honest. Your state just announced, what was it? No more gas powered or diesel. Now, was it gas and diesel powered?
Well, yeah, I don't know exactly. I didn't read the bill too much because I already know that it's been challenged in the courts. So I'm fairly sure that it's going to not be
going to get knocked down by either the state or the state Supreme Court or the Supreme Court in DC.
One of the things I was worried about was, older vehicles being grandfathered in.
Right.
I want to make sure that classic cars are still able to be used, that you don't have to do on everything. If you got to do a conversion on certain vehicles, I want the state to be the one to provide assistance doing so.
Now, I have a question.
Otherwise, it's not fair to the poor people in this state.
No.
Now, what about now? Here's another question I had about this bill, and I haven't read it. I don't live in California. I haven't since 2010. I spent 7 years there in NorCal, up near Roseville area, Beale Air Force Base.
Well, that area is actually nice.
Yes, that area can be very nice. When the sun is down, it cools down greatly. I mean, the temperatures just drop amazingly quick. But when that sun comes up, boom, that heat starts hitting. And For Newsom, I'm like, let's be honest. You already have areas in California that you will be fined if you are watering your lawn on the wrong day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense when we're in a drought.
Yes, I understand that to a point, but then it's also, if I'm not mistaken, illegal to take rainwater.
Yes.
Well, okay. I want to explain that one because what they're trying to do is when it rains in most areas of the world, some water gets drains into, if you want to think about it, into like aquifers and stuff like that. And we use a large portion of our aquifers to water crops and crap like that. When people take rainwater, that makes it less likely to get into the aquifer system. My problem with it is every person should be allowed to have a certain amount of rainwater they are allowed to collect, because the average home doesn't need a few gallons as for emergency water than a fucking farm.
Well, Los Angeles is like Las Vegas. Even though Las Vegas is legit in the desert, Los Angeles is technically semi-arid. It gets just a tiny bit of rainfall to not be a desert. In that area, there are no outside of Silver Lake. There's no aquifers.
And I have to argue one thing. Las Vegas is nothing like Los Angeles, because Las Vegas is very strict when it comes to their water usage, and they do it fucking right.
Yes, they do, and it's gorgeous. Like, I have never seen so much AstroTurf and been so happy to see it.
Yeah. Los Angeles, instead of doing the right thing for the most part, because they are extremely wealthy and a lot of people immigrate to Los Angeles from other parts of the country, they're more like, oh, we'll go ahead and pay the fine because we have money.
Yeah.
So then,
isn't that how? Isn't that how a lot of people are? I mean, it's like I was watching a show. I don't remember which one it was, but this guy was like, it costs me this much money to park over here every day. It's like I get maybe 2-3 tickets a month. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm coming out ahead just paying the damn fine.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like those people are
and
fucking
I'm thinking, and this was a show based, and this is a cop show based in LA. I can't think of the name of it.
I was going to say, looking at you, Pasadena. Looking at you.
It may have been The Rookie, because I believe something like that happened.
Oh, I love The Rookie. That may have been where I heard it from. But yeah, I do love The Rookie. I'm glad it's getting another season. I think Nathan Fillion is a good actor. I don't
Fillion, not Filoni.
Sorry, Fillion, not Filoni. You're correct. My bad.
I am enjoying that show, and I think they balance out police work with character development fairly well.
I just don't like that the one actor left the show.
Which one?
I call him Nathan Felony, because the way he steals the show, it should be a crime.
I like that.
I'm stealing that, and I'm posting that to Twitter and tagging him in it.
Please do. Steal away.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that one. That's a pretty good one. It was the black gay rookie. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It's too early it's not really too early in the morning, but I've been up since 4 a.m. my time. So,
I don't know why he left. So
I do know why he left. He left the show because he was playing a black cop on a show, and he didn't feel that he should be playing a black cop on a show with what was currently going on in the media, for lack of a better term. And I thought, okay, if that's the principles you're going to stand by, so be it. But I was actually upset because I really enjoyed his character.
Well, not only that, I mean,
he was kind of the heart. Let me look up his name. Let me look up that gentleman's name.
Well, talking about, The Rookie and how much we're enjoying it, despite, you and me particularly being nearly, not really opposite.
Ideologically opposite.
Yeah. I know a lot of people on my mom's side of the family who love cop shows that won't watch The Rookie because they say it's too politically correct. That's because they're old school and they don't use the woke term to knowing that politically correct now just means woke.
I disagree.
And woke
with
doesn't
you. I
even
don't
mean
think
woke.
it has been. I don't see it as being politically woke. I see it as,
Oh.
yes, it has certain woke elements that pop in, like when the teacher at his college was saying you probably should have told the kids you were a cop. But then the kids, the way they acted was very, reminiscent of what some of these kids would act like now. And the teacher even says, you really think they're going to put a 40-something-year-old white man to sneak into BLM? Really? I mean, she gives some perspective, and she gives it from both angles. And I thought that was very well done. I thought it was very well done. Now, granted,
more respect than the kids did.
Well, I don't agree with he should have had to say that he was a cop, but I get where she was coming from that perspective.
Yes. And I would agree with you on that part. But no, my one of my cousins said on Facebook that they refused to watch the show after the first episode because only the main character and one other character are straight white males. Everyone else has some sort of minority or gay, and they have to throw it in our faces every 5 minutes. And I'm like,
they can't just let the characters be themselves and show, not tell.
I don't see that at all. That is totally shit.
I know, but you have to understand.
I know who the straight white males they're talking about. They're talking about Bradford, and they're talking about
Nolan.
Nathan Filoni's character, John Nolan. Okay, no, they are not the only straight characters on there. I'll be honest. One of the best
white males. That was the thing. There was only two straight white males, and apparently that was not enough for them.
It's Los Angeles.
As I said, but they didn't like. My cousin didn't like the fact that the police chief, or not the police chief, but the the head honcho for their department, has to be a black
the
man.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
You mean Sergeant Gray?
Man. Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I'm missing. I don't know. They just said that they didn't like the fact that the sergeant, or I can't remember what they said specifically, but they said the boss was a black man. The training officer is a black woman. There's only 3 rookies, and one of them's an Asian chick, one of them's a black kid, and one of them's a 40-year-old white guy. And as I said, they complained a whole lot about it, and I was just like, "Fuck," I ignored it because I try to ignore family on Facebook as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah,
sounds a little culturally myopic.
That is definitely an area I don't understand. I'm like, it's Los Angeles. I know.
Right.
Look, I'll give you NorCal, for example, where I lived. We saw a majority of whites, Hispanics, and Punjabis. For those of you who don't know what a Punjabi is, that is a native from India. And there were a lot of them. And, they played that old joke, it kind of plays that old trope. You got to have an Indian accent to run a gas station. Here's the kicker that most people are stupid and they don't realize. These people own these gas stations. They own these franchises.
Yeah, and some of them are like our second and third generation Americans.
And they're family owned.
Dude, and some of these guys, they're pulling your leg when you walk in there, and they're talking like a poo. And then as soon as you leave, they're like, "So yeah, I was watching the Dodgers game last night."
I mean, the only thing I never was able to understand was the music they played, because it's not my culture, it's not my kind of music, but it was interesting. I just wasn't really for me, but. So you had Jackson West. That was the guy. That was the character's name. And, his father was the commander of internal affairs. and his son always wanted to be a cop, and then he had to struggle because, you know, knowing about being a cop is different than being a cop.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to really, yeah, and he really, you know, there was a thing about his character. He really kind of held kind of some heart and soul. He was kind of the voice of reason a lot of times for being as young as he was. But, you know, each character, you know, Lopez has her issues. Gray is even, you know, he's trying, you know, his wife's ready for him to retire, and he's not, you know, 100, you know, kind of like he's ready for it, but he's only got one foot out the door.
Yeah.
And the actor who plays Sergeant Gray, Richard T. Jones, yeah, this guy's been in so many good things. He's a good actor.
That's the funny thing is that wokies don't understand that those of us who are complaining about this, it's like, dude, you're shoehorning identifiers to make a character, whereas it's not the person's actions, their level of integrity, or any other real character, not physical traits, not minor social traits, but actual traits that lead to the result of their actions, that actually lead to what action they do take. And it's like, dude, we love all these characters out there that are wonderfully, and the term is so tainted, diverse, but we should say ethnically or racially diverse, and there are there are some nuggets out there. It's like, dude, we don't like every white character. Like, do you really think that that's how we think? That, oh, they're white, so we like them. It's like, nah, dude.
I will say I do know some people that are like that.
See,
yeah.
I remember when the episode came out in one of my Facebook groups about when Brandon Ruth comes on. They were so excited that Superman was going to be on.
The CW episode.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was a CW episode, but the one where Brandon Ruth, who if you know, if Superman Returns, played Superman, and he later played Adam.
Oh yeah,
but, yeah. He was on the rookie for.
He's going to be like Super Cop. He's going to be, a hero, and they're like, no, they turned him into a freaking racist. How could they do that to Superman? They have no respect. And I'm just like, he's an actor.
He's not playing Superman. Actually, I thought that was a pretty good role for him because it was different from
exactly.
It was different. He was playing he was playing an openly racist cop. I mean, it was very easy to see. But even when, Wes goes and tries to talk to Gray or talk to his previous, he's like, are you sure you want to take this to that level? Because you're going to need to be able to back it up.
Well, especially when you're typecast as the ultra good guy. I mean, Superman, Adam, Kingdom Come Superman. He was super duper ultra good guy Superman. I mean, I think if I were an actor in his shoes, I'd want to go play the bad guy for a minute.
Yeah. Well, everybody always says, you have a lot of actors who say they love playing the bad guy because the bad guy has more fun until the end of the movie. But, I'll give you an example. Take Nicolas Cage and just take the Face Off movie with him and John Travolta.
Yeah, Travolta and Cage. Oh, yeah, dude. That was great.
And they loved being able to do that because they were like, it's so fun. I get to play the good guy. I get to play the bad guy. But then they pointed out about his gun, Nicolas Cage's guns. And they're like, come on, the bad guy always has the cooler weapon. And I'm
right.
Like, yeah, that is kind of true. The bad guy tends to do have the better guns.
No, and Travolta really, really, dude, he was going around Hollywood, please let me be a bad guy. And they're like, no, please be the good guy over here, or we're not going to hire you. Okay, he goes to another studio, please let me be the bad guy. Because he was just like John Travolta. His image was, he was always the good guy. And he was just like, I'm so tired of it. I just want to play the bad guy.
And then he did a great job of that. He did an awesome job as a villain in Broken Arrow.
I was about to bring that one up. That was a great movie. Best Christian Slater movie ever.
Yeah, that was definitely one of his best.
Yeah,
I don't
dude,
know. I didn't really like Broken Arrow. I hate to
I'm
say
sorry. It's not for everyone. So,
it's all
hey,
right.
good news, guys. My wife finally, we were going to go see Jaws in theater Friday.
Uh-huh.
Both of us, unfortunately, were incredibly tired, but my wife had mentioned she had never seen the damn movie. And I wanted to see it in theater, but I'm like, okay, we're both tired. We're both exhausted. I was like, fuck it. I went on Amazon, bought the damn thing on digital so I can get a physical copy. Because it turns out I need to buy a lot more physical copies of classic shit because there's a lot of things I don't have. And she watched the movie and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I actually told her, I was like, you need to make me a list of movies, classic movies you have not seen. But then again, I'm no better. I'm the guy who still hasn't gotten around to seeing The Sound of Music yet.
You know how life imitates art?
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Has anybody really noticed that the White House replaced a ginger with a black lesbian?
You're gonna have to be more specific because I'm not sure I get the reference.
Oh, he's talking about the press secretary.
The press secretary. Now, the press secretary, don't get me wrong, the press secretary is a scumbag. They're always a scumbag. They're the White House's professional liar. This is the person who tells you the house is not on fire when it is, in fact, burning down, and you are already on your second degree of burns.
Let's put it this way. The
secretary.
White House press secretary is the equivalent to Baghdad Bob. Baghdad
Yeah.
Bob. And if you don't know that reference, just look up Baghdad Bob.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find it. But yeah,
So-
it's always the same with those. I mean, yeah, they have to be professional liars or they have to be professional spinners.
Right. So, and this person is quite competent at their job. They can tackle with the press. That's another thing that people think that the press and the press secretary not getting along is the new thing. No, this has been going on for as long as I can remember, and I'm old enough to remember Gingrich and Libby working on the Telecommunications Act. So that took away our news. So there's that. So, but I was just like, this is hilarious. Nobody seems to be talking about it because this should be like Rolfocopter level hilarity right here. I was like, is nobody paying attention? And granted, she does a much better job than Jen Psaki. I'll give her that. But she's a tiger. Scummy, because
Well, I guarantee you there are people that are complaining regardless.
Oh yeah, well for sure. But I just thought like the whole ginger side thing was hilarious.
I mean, it's a job. I don't care who has it. Someone obviously got to have it, and I'd rather them be more on the truthful side. Not.
Well, we've had our semi-honest what do you call them, press secretaries from time to time, but they don't last long. They last like a couple of weeks and then they're gone. It's like no, people go, oh, it was a gaffe. It was like, no, that was just the person. That was the person being honest. That was it's their bosses that took it as a gaffe and said, nope, we're replacing you. But I just thought it was funny that life imitates art in that one regard. It was just I got a giggle.
Look at the movie if you have never seen it. Thank You for Smoking.
I've been meaning to watch that. That has been recommended to me.
Not in a while.
That is, if you want to know how fallacies and spin works, I'll tell you, yeah, this is the movie that is going to answer a lot of those questions. And I learned about this class. I learned about this movie. I can't remember how long back it was. It was early 2000. It was probably 2004, 2005. I was working on my associate's degree at the time, and I was just getting my electives out of the way. I was taking a night class called. I was taking an elective, and my elective this time was critical thinking. And I really didn't know much about critical thinking. I didn't know any of that stuff that went into it. I just thought, I was like, okay, this sounds like critical thinking. Sure, why the hell not? My teacher, I will be honest, was a completely long haired 60s hippie liberal. Now, I say that because he was liberal, not left. There is a difference.
Right.
Yes, there is.
And he didn't make any bones about certain people he didn't like and certain people he did like. But what he did was he would go through like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, give us like little clips and teach us about each time either the politician is doing a fallacy or the anchor is doing a fallacy, and taught us how to catch for that stuff. And then he recommended, and somewhere along the line, he recommended the movie Thank You for Smoking. And he brought up the ice cream scene and showed us that on YouTube. And, a couple days later, I went and saw the movie and I was like, holy shit, this puts a lot of things in perspective.
Yeah, the guy who ran the smoking campaign, the for all the tobacco companies and stuff, like, I like to listen to old-timey radio, and the vast majority of them are sponsored by tobacco companies. It's wise to smoke our brand of cigarette. It's wise to smoke our brand of cigarette. Like, they will actually say that.
Well, if you go far back enough, you remember Wilma and Betty were selling cigarettes in the Flintstones cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Marlboro cigarette. Actually, a lot of cigarette companies for a long time were sponsors for Formula One cars. Literally the most expensive motorsport in the world.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, the most promoted in the world. I mean, there's no way around it. I know Formula One is a spectacle that people all over the world watch. NASCAR for a long time. Yeah, NASCAR, for example, was sponsored by Winston cigarettes for God, how many freaking decades?
Yep. Chesterfields, smooth Chesterfields. After 4 weeks of smoking Chesterfields, our doctors report that Chesterfield smokers have fewer lung problems.
Yeah.
Like, for real, that was a commercial.
Well, if you go to, and I don't know if this is an actual thing that was said to the king, to Queen Elizabeth's dad, the king, in the King's speech, but the king was a very heavy smoker.
Yes, chain smoker.
Yes, he was a heavy chain smoker, and he was actually told by his doctors, at least in the movie, The King's Speech. He goes, yes, smoking opens up the lungs. It helps relax the lungs. And it's his speech therapist who tells him he can't smoke around it because he thinks smoking is bad for you. And the king kind of almost scoffs at the idea. Ironically, that's pretty much what killed him.
Well, my doctors have been shuffling me to an early grave with placid reassurance. Goodness gracious. Yeah, no, for real. Dang it, I left my stuff on the porch last night. It didn't get wet. It's just, it's humid out here. See, I've been living in Los Angeles so long I forgot what it was like to live in moisture, and I left my art pads outside.
I would actually enjoy my humidity being below 95% for a few days.
I can take that. Here, I can show you what I got going on here.
Because I'm having fun with this. I don't know if you can see what I'm typing, but
Beast Wars Megatron.
Well, this is the Beast Wars Megatron reissue from last year. But I can't really make the photo that much bigger, but I'll try. If you notice, and I said this on one of the other live streams, I'm including this little rubber duck bot figure.
I love it.
And I'm not going to explain it, but even in my description, I'm putting, this is the licensed Transformers Beast Wars Megatron 2021 reissue and is unopened. Also includes the rubber duck bot figure. And if you need to ask why the seller would include this as a bonus figure with Beast Wars Megatron, you need to rewatch the show. Yes.
I will say this: Beast Wars was the best of any Transformers continuation they've done, in my opinion.
Oh, I love Beast Wars.
It was different.
Despite being only the second fully 3D, fully computer generated TV show in existence, it still holds up today, as far as I'm concerned.
Holds up a lot better than that Transformers 3D they tried to do some years back.
Which one are you talking about?
Oh, fuck. I don't remember how long ago it was.
Was that the one that was based on the movie characters?
I think it's the one done. It's kind of like a sequel to the original Voltron. And it's before the Netflix. I don't think it lasted past the season. I really didn't keep track of it. I tried to watch the new Transformers, but it kind of had that Full Metal Alchemist kind of thing going for it, and I don't really care for Full Metal Alchemist.
I like the storyline, but it got convoluted at times. The second
they tried to tie in everything. Were you talking about War for Cybertron?
No, I was talking about Full Metal Alchemist still.
Okay, yeah.
Well, my issue was I just couldn't get past the silly expressions that would happen.
Well, that's an anime thing. I mean, you can't really be mad about that.
Yeah, it's a children's. It's meant for young teenagers and stuff like that. So it's like that's just a cultural flair over there. The emotional whiplash factor, where it's it's dead serious and it's an awesome moment. All of a sudden they're getting all wacky. Whoa, wow, guys, look at that.
Yeah, like I said, I'll be honest with y'all too. I've always said this: manga or manga, whichever you want to call it. I call it manga. It's really never been, my forte. I've seen many good Japanimation movies and some series, but really my son is the one who's really into it.
There are some gems out there.
The sound will play, but I got to do this real quick.
Oh.
I don't get it.
That's the moment where he squishes the little duck.
I don't get it.
Oh shit! Am I the only non-Californian on this panel right now?
Yes.
Well, I'm from California, but I never referred to myself as a Californian.
I wasn't born here, but I still am a Californian.
Yeah, I was born and raised, but I like the terrain and some of the people.
Same here. I could definitely say that. But I'm from San Diego, so like our worst enemies are Los Angelinos.
I'm from San Francisco, so our worst enemies are Angelinos. So
Dodgers suck.
We can all agree Dodgers suck.
Dodgers suck.
Then send the Dodgers back to Brooklyn, man.
I was upset Will Smith of the Dodgers didn't change his walk-up song after the Oscars. Come on, slap that bitch up. Come on, Will.
Yeah, real California baseball teams have orange on their logo.
Yeah, orange and black around here is not Halloween, it's giant season.
Yeah, that's right. It's either baseball season or Halloween.
Yeah.
I grew up in Pacifica, actually, specifically. Even though I lived all around the Bay Area, we moved around a lot, rentals. And yeah, just south of San Francisco. So I know the San Francisco version of the joke where you drop your keys. You know, if you drop your keys at the corner of Market and Castro, you kick them down to the Embarcadero.
Well, it is a hill.
Right? Don't want to go the other way because then you got to go over the hill. So
Yeah, that's how I like coming back from Safeway. It's all downhill, but I hate going to Safeway.
Yeah, no, I can dig it.
Try being a guy from Illinois, born right outside of the St. Louis area, just on the other side of the Mississippi. Go live in Tennessee, then go live in Germany, West Virginia, Florida, back to Illinois. Then you join the military, go to California, go to North Carolina, come back to Illinois, join the Air Force, go to Texas, go to Mississippi, then go back to California, down to Florida, and to South Carolina. So I found it literally hilarious that my military career, my first base was in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. My last base was in South Carolina, Shaw Air Force Base. I was like, well, my fleet career started in a Carolina. I guess it's going to end in a Carolina.
It's a Carolina bookends.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll tell you one thing I hate. I'll tell you one thing I hated. My mom's been in Jacksonville, Florida since I was 5 years old. My parents divorced at 9. And I tell you what, I fucking hate I-95 going through South Carolina. It is the worst. 2 lanes the whole way. Everybody's acting like a dick. And I swear to God, some shit always happens somewhere.
Dude, that's where all those state trooper and cops videos come from the people who are speeding through there, like through a line of cars, like madmen.
Oh yeah, and we're on 2-lane roads, and then you're like, dude, what are you doing? It's like you're gonna fight. I was amazed at how many people did not end up wrecking, and trust me, I saw plenty of wrecks. See, I'm the guy who will give about 10 to 15 feet of space between cars, or between, especially the vehicle's got more wheels than I. Sorry, I live by the old rule. If it's got more wheels than me, it gets the right of way, unless it's a tank. Then a tank always gets the right of way.
That's what I used to drive.
When I when I used to go to Texas, one of my uncle's favorite sayings was, when you come to a 4-way stop and 4 cars all stop at the same time from each direction, who gets to go first in Texas?
Who's ever the fastest on their pedal?
No, whoever's got the biggest tires.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. They can run you over.
Oh God, you just reminded me of a story there. When I lived in Lincoln, California, just outside of Roseville, California. Nice little subdivision. I couldn't believe I got a 2-bedroom apartment for $750 back in 2008. Or no, 2005. Man, I couldn't believe I got a 2-bedroom apartment that cheap. Because the housing market was like $300,000 easy. But I was driving, I was coming out of my apartment and I was going down the one road I had to go down before I took the left to get on the highway to get to the base. And I literally see this one car and I see this big ass truck. I mean, this is a lift kit from hell. And I'm looking and I'm just seeing, I'm just picturing what's about to happen here. I'm like, is that truck going to turn right while this car is planning to turn left? And I was thinking, does this truck even see this car? Well, the truck obviously either didn't see it or this guy was too drunk to care, because as soon as the light turned green, he hit the gas and rolled over the top of this dude's car.
Oh, no.
Rolled over the freaking engine of the car, the hood. I just watched this happen as this big-ass truck rolled right over this car, and then just kept going like nothing happened. I'm like, did he even know he just ran over a car?
That's great.
Now, I was debating what I should do next, and I was like, I'll just go to work. This ain't my problem. Yeah, I could have been a witness, but I was more interested in getting to work.
I see that my son is up finally. Oh yeah, no, he and a couple of the other kids were up to some late night shenanigans. Woke Dad up in the middle of the night.
I'll
Like
try being
playing
mean.
around when they're supposed to be resting growing bodies. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Oh God, my 12-year-old is dating now.
Oh Lord.
Oh, well, Caddy has a new boyfriend that she was trying to introduce on the stream yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've met the guy. He seems like a decent enough fella. I told my daughter because she wanted us to meet him. I said he better know how to fucking handshake. I was dead, and my daughter could tell I was dead serious about that. So when he shook my hand, I was like, she must have told you ahead of time. And I could see the look on his face. He's like, yeah, she did. So I'm like, if you give me, I'm sorry, call me old school, but if you give me one of those weak, limpy handshakes, and especially if you're a man, that makes me really question you.
Shout out to my son who knows he's busted, but you know what he did? He got up, he got showered, dressed, and took out the trash, and has already started on deep cleaning the kitchen.
All right, Dad, I screwed up. Let me make amends for it. I'm good.
Yeah. I was like, all right, you're going a long way, because as soon as I saw him, I was like, I'm heated. Dad's been working long hours. You know, this is, I've been knocking out commissions and whatnot, right? So this is just like, so I took a break to do a little bit of fan art right here. A little cyber frog action.
There we go.
I don't know if y'all can see that.
I can see that.
Yeah. See if I can get. There we go. We can zoom in.
Is that Man Thing?
Oh wow! I nearly kicked you out of the stream instead of soloing you.
But, yeah, I got friendly with a 0.1 millimeter pen on 5.5 by 8.5.
Sorry, that almost looks like Iron Spider.
I thought it was Man Thing for seconds.
The armor paneling and the position makes it look kind of like the Iron Spidey.
I may or may not have had that subconsciously influence the way I was drawing this. I can't deny that, because Iron Spider, when it came out, was pretty badass.
You know, I have to be honest, man. I wish I could draw this.
I want to show what I'm talking about. Go ahead, MB.
I was just saying, you know, this is a talent, unfortunately, I don't have that. Thankfully, my daughters have been very blessed to have something like that. So, you know, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, you know, embrace your artwork, whether you do it for work or a hobby. You know, you got talent, use it. My talent's more
for real.
My talent, because I did so much role-playing, RPG, pen and paper growing up, I started to, and as I got older with it, I used to just make characters to relax for no other reason. They were never going to be played. But I'd come up with, really, I spend more time coming up with a backstory and things like that, just giving like a synopsis.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt. This is the version I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Tony Stark built one. This is one that an alternate Spider-Man built to fight the Enforcers.
The one back from the early 90s where where it was all the interlocking tiny spiders.
Yeah.
We're talking about comics.
Only used for like 2 comics before it got shattered by the Enforcers of all villains.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
So-
I'll be back in a few minutes. I gotta use the restroom.
Yeah, we're talking about comics. This is what I started working on this morning.
Well, there we go.
This is 7 boxes. This is all Superman.
Hold on.
That's outstanding. We're
This
a
is-
Superman family over here specifically, actually.
Well, I'll be very specific. This is, I've actually lost some weight since I started working out again, but it's going to take
good.
a while it's going to take a while for the pudge to go away. But I worked out 5 days last week, so that was an accomplishment.
Outstanding.
A long time for me. But yeah, so this is specifically post-crisis era. This is 86 to 2011. I have the Man of Steel miniseries that redid his origin. I've got the Superman comics from 1 to 225. I've got Adventures of Superman that started in post-crisis, the Next Level of Superman, the Action Comics that went from the post-crisis era, Superman Man of Tomorrow, and the very last one down at the bottom has what I called a miscellaneous section with some other things, and I just put on the little tab, which I like the fact that they have tabs there so I can change the tabs in and out, and or just put them in there. And I just said miscellaneous CNC list inside, and I made an entire list of what was also miscellaneous in it.
Nice.
And that's
Sorry. Got to show this off if you guys are like that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude, yes.
And right now, it's only $2.50 on my store.
Dude, that's a bargain. It's gonna cost more to ship it. That's great.
Yeah, it'll cost you about $10 to ship, but so altogether it'll be about $12.50, and it's a free comic book day Superman comic with the mug that I actually used on the CNA stream before.
Oh, dude. So it's a collector's item, even. Holy cow! You need a couple zeros in there.
Not really. I can't. The mug itself is only worth like $10, and it's a free comic book, so I don't have the heart to sell it for anything. But because I'm making you pay for shipping, which is why I only put it at $5 total. And right now, because of what happened yesterday on the live stream, when people donated enough to get it up to 200, that's why I'm doing the 50% off sale right now.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful! You pass the savings on to them.
Well, people helped me out. You guys get what you want, and
yeah, that's beautiful.
So I bought 10 of the. I bought 10 of these off of Amazon. I knew that wasn't going to be enough for the collection, but I want to at least get the Supermans out there. Next up, probably in October, I'll buy another set of boxes. I've got 3 left to do. I'm going to put probably my Walking Dead and my Fables, and maybe a few of my not my Star Wars. I got too many of those. But probably my Fables and my Walking Dead are going to go into the next set of boxes. And then, because unfortunately a lot of this stuff is going out to the barn. I did a short video saying that, I'm starting to work on the Den of Geeks. And I just did not want to place these out in the barn in those damn cardboard containers that I've been using since the damn 80s. So, So I went on Amazon and found these. These are moisture protected. They got a nice flap on it. And I do like the fact that they have this little area here where I can put, hey, this is what's in the damn thing versus writing it on the damn thing. Because, shit, if you look at what I've got here, trust me, there's been a lot of writing and crossing out over time.
Word.
Now, it's fortunate I got all the Supermans from a guy off of Amazon, and dude, I got 1,500. I got 1,500 Superman comics for like $650.
Well, Mike has a Superman coffee mug with the comic book for $20 on his eBay store.
No, I've got it for $2.50 right now. I just showed it, Elihu.
Oh, sorry, I just got back.
Yeah. And then you have my Batman collection. That was the one I worked on back from 2011 to 2000. Right when they went to the new 52, that's when I started collecting the post-crisis Batman era. And I was able to get Batman, the Detective Comics, Shadows of the Bat, Legend of the Dark Knight, Birds of Prey, Batgirl, and a few others.
All right, folks. Well, I have to bounce. You have yourselves a wonderful day. Dadland calls me. You have yourselves a wonderful day and good hunting, good sir. I'm glad to see that you made some headway yesterday. Hopefully, you can get the rest of the way today. That would be fantastic.
Well, I'm not doing a full live, or I'm not doing a 12-hour live stream again today. This is just the normal CNA stream
Nice.
with a couple hours added, or at least an hour and a half added to it, because we ended the stream last night because Elihu had to sleep. LDG was falling asleep on the stream, and I was just by myself.
Yeah, I was sleeping
Yeah,
last night.
dig it. All righty. Well, you guys have yourselves a great one.
Take care.
Later, dude.
Right.
Well, I would have shown up on your stream yesterday, but I was really high, as I said in the chat.
So was I, but still, I showed up.
Nah, dude, I wasn't just high. I was exhausted. I'd been up since like 2 a.m. That's one of the things. My wife sleeps till like 8:30 now, and I'm up usually anywhere from between 2 and 4 p.m. Or 2 or 4 a.m. So I'm usually in bed. I was actually Friday night. I fell asleep at 6, woke up at 2. Yesterday, I fell asleep right around 9. Or I don't know what the hell time I fell asleep. All I know is I woke up and it said 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. on my computer, and then I took a couple of hits, went back to sleep. Next thing I know, it's 4:30, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm awake.
Because Richie's now in the chat, went up to 425, so I didn't have to eat the damn chip, which I'm not going to necessarily complain about, because after watching LDG eat it from last year, yeah, we're going to do this now. I still would have, didn't want to.
You just should have watched my video of me eating the chip.
I have seen your video of you eating the chip.
I tried telling him the hardest thing was the hiccuping.
Now, see, the only time I've ever done a challenge like that was somebody bought a bunch of us Devil's Toe, and this really hot candy, and the point is you're supposed to keep it in your mouth for 5 minutes. And being the dumb jarhead I am, of course I'm not going to back down. And I'm sure as hell not going to be shown up by Air Force people, even though I was in the Air Force at the time.
Oh.
So I managed to hold that thing for all of 5 minutes and then spent the next few hours hating my life. But only me, out of 7 people, only me and one other person made it all 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that was easy.
Mrs. Vike shave. Man, I haven't had a woman shave my beard. Well, actually, it would be over 16 years since my wife and I got together not too long ago, 16 years ago. And we lost the host. What'd you do, Elihu?
Nah, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to give away the answer.
Well, take over. I'm not taking charge of that.
Neither am I.
Somebody tell OG. No, he came in like 30 minutes ago. Why isn't his ass up here?
Who?
Pickles.
There was this chat, 8:49, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, this room here, it needs painting. First, it needs some sanding, some plaster in some areas, and then a definite paint job. And then I got some things I'm gonna get installed in here, but I have to wait for my homeowner's insurance to come in and tell me what they're gonna do with this floor foundation and the shit underneath the floor. So we already had the engineer come out. Now I'm just waiting on the insurance company to tell me, what they're going to cover. So we will see.
Damn. Sorry, I'm checking prices right now. Travel prices.
Checking what prices?
Travel prices.
Where are you trying to go to?
Well, that's what.
Either Vegas or Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico's now $600 to get them all. Holy shit! Why is it getting more expensive in Puerto Rico?
Well, damn, $600 from California to Puerto Rico doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but it cost me $320. Oh, it cost me $320 to get from here to Vegas. Check this out. Look at the bottom right hand of the screen, okay?
Okay, so a couple of work guys having a chill.
I thought that was funny. I'm sorry.
Nah, I can't get mad at people like that.
They got the cron going on, and all of a sudden, like, what the hell's going on here in the background? That's funny. I'm sorry.
It's like a couple of guys chilling, just having fun.
Yeah, sorry guys. The crap top just crashed on me, which is an example of why I need a new one. I mean, it literally just like screen flickered, and Elihu's voice, or Elihu making a sound that just repeating, going, and I was like, okay, this is time to shut it off.
I am not Lloyd. This is not the most annoying sound in the world, okay?
Oh God, that movie is. Oh God, Jim Carrey movies did not age well.
No, I would say Dumb and Dumber. I hated that freaking movie because of one scene that I thought was so cruel that I could not enjoy it. And that was when he sells the dead bird with the head taped back on to the blind kid. I'm sorry. That just was like, that's not funny to me.
Who's a pretty bird? Who's a pretty bird?
I lost it. I'm like, I cannot enjoy this movie after that. And how you doing, Yvette?
Hey, Yvette.
I couldn't enjoy the cop pissing it, drinking the piss bottle. I'm just like, oh my God. Look, I'll be honest with you. I hate fart jokes and I hate piss jokes. They're just so lame and stupid and cheap. I can't stand them.
Well, at the times of the day.
Well, that's one of the reasons I can't. Well, it's one of the reasons I can't stand most of DreamWorks animation, because they put these fucking fart jokes in, and it's supposed to be funny, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's aimed for kids. That's why kids think fart jokes are funny.
Yeah, kids to this day still think fart jokes are funny. I mean, my son is like, his favorite joke is "I'm gonna fart on you," and then him making a fart sound.
When an adult watches something and they go, "Oh my, not another fart joke." Well, guess what? The movie wasn't for you. It's for the kids.
Well, I'm the one stuck having to take well, thankfully now I don't have to for the most part, unless we want to go to an R-rated movie, which is very few and far between. And hell, there aren't exactly a lot of good movies coming out. I mean, shit. I think COVID was the greatest thing for Top Gun Maverick, because it came out years later and everything else has just been tanking has been tanking since then. And it's still been in the top 10 for over 90 days.
I have not even bothered watching the Top Gun Maverick.
It's on Amazon Prime, so you could find your ways if you wanted to.
Oh, the day before it came out in the theaters, I had a high def version, and I still do not want to watch it. I still don't care for it.
Yvette, please tell me that's British humor. Please, for the love of God, tell me that's British humor.
Atreyu!
No, as long as it's not. God, I'm torn on this because the never-ending story, by definition, should be a reboot every time there's a new film because the story itself changes depending upon the reader.
Exactly. That's why Neverending Story 2 was okay. The first one was the better one.
But if there's a new reader and they're telling the same story from his point of view, or something like that, I can understand this being a reboot and done well. But if it's literally just a word for word recitation like freaking Lion King or Beauty and the Beast was, I'm going to be pissed.
Or Little Mermaid.
Oh, the Little Mermaid's going to, no matter what, let's be honest, the Little Mermaid, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to bitch about, they're going to say, oh, it's because they had they race swapped Ariel. How about the fact that, I don't know, you could have done a female black mermaid. I'm sure there are stories of mermaids in Africa, I would imagine. You could have made an original story out of that.
Why is everybody upset because, oh no, the character's not white? What the fuck is wrong with you? Who gives a fuck? It's fake. It's fictional. It's made up. Who cares if the character is not white or straight? Who cares? It's a good story. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it comes.
But if this is just a word for word remake of The Little Mermaid, where they just replaced, and that's the only major change they made, I'm still gonna hate this movie. But it's not. It's just gonna be because I'm tired of these lazy Disney remakes.
Well, that's been the biggest thing I've had an issue with. Beauty and the Beast was virtually word for word.
Yeah, so was Lion King.
And I didn't even finish Lion King.
I couldn't get really past it. Real lions interacting with real antelope and not eating each other. What the fuck is wrong with you? Cartoon, I understand. Real life, no.
Yeah, there was just some. My wife and I couldn't even finish that one.
Matthew Broderick wasn't even in it. I'm like, what the hell is the waste of point here? Come on, Matthew Broderick, Simba.
No, they had to go. Well, okay. I do want to point this out. The only one of their live actions I have generally enjoyed so far has been the Aladdin movie. But I'm gonna point this out.
I love this.
I'm only gonna say this. Why are we bitching about them making Ariel black? Okay. By that same note, why did they have to make sure that they got people of Arabian descent to play in that movie, Aladdin?
Yeah, in all honesty, I kind of agree with you, NB, but for the wrong reasons.
Well, we have different reasons.
And that's because while this version of Aladdin takes place in a fictionalized version of the Middle East, the original story is actually of Indian origin.
Yes.
So they should have been Indians, not, and I mean Indians as in people from India,
yes,
not Arabians.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to try to say you want to keep it authentic, okay, well, how far are you going? And here's the thing. I enjoyed the Aladdin movie. I was actually rather surprised I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that Will Smith did not try to redo what Robin Williams did, because you just can't do that. So he made the character more his own, and I was like, okay, I can work with this. But it was the only one I generally liked.
I like the twist ending at the end of it. I love that part.
Well, what I didn't like in this trailer for, and here's the thing, when it comes to The Little Mermaid, this is the one I'm going to be the most biased with, because this is actually my favorite Disney movie. And honestly, for one reason only. I love the score. I love the songs. I absolutely love every song they have in there. And then when I heard this rendition of A Whole New World, I was just like, I was cringing. It's like, it just doesn't sound right. And that's really what got me. And if we're going to do another, word for word movie, I don't need that. I've got the original. I mean,
No.
that's like trying to watch what was that remake of Psycho with William H. Macy that was just virtually word for word, scene for scene from Alfred Hitchcock. I'm like, you did nothing.
Do you realize in the past couple of years, Hollywood has not made anything new? It's always been a different idea told differently. 5 years ago, you would come out with you would see a trailer in theaters like, all right, a brand new movie, new concept.
To be fair, Elihu, 90% of all films are storylines that have existed for thousands of years.
Well, I'm talking about remakes and reboots and retellings of the stories, not just entirely new conceptual ideas.
Okay, you can take something. Well, Mike, you can take something like Jason and the Argonauts or Hercules or something like that and be able to do something with it because it's been such a long time since the last time it was made. But when you're taking franchises that are...
I'm talking more about the types of stories that are being told. They're all the same, Well,
they're all stories have a similar...
The dragon type, the hero's journey type, all that stuff has been done and done and done. It's just the way things are, maybe something is changing, like something's being shot different, or, instead it's aliens instead of a dragon. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Everything else is exactly the same.
Well, I'll give you an example of one that I thought was surprising. War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Oh, no.
I thought it sucked.
No, yeah, that's
here's why I'm saying here's what I'm saying though. I didn't originally like the movie. I also hadn't read the book yet. And I did read the book and realized this was actually much closer to the book than the original movie we saw back in that was made in the 50s.
The narrative was close. The movie was not. I'm like, so you got Tom Cruise running and all the aliens are avoiding him and killing everybody else. They're hiding in the house, and the aliens decide to go investigate a house. What the fuck is up with this? They want to investigate one single house out of everything they're destroying? I didn't get that part. I'm like, this is stupid.
Okay, I can see your point of view on that. But I thought, overall the ships looked very similar to the drawings in the book. The storyline kind of followed very well. The difference was it was in the 2000s versus...
They didn't explain how the aliens got their ships during the Earth in the first place and how long they've been there. Like, what the hell was this? They're buried in public places. People are digging and building all around. They never found the ships that were buried underneath the ground. What?
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm sorry, but I'm talking about Tom Cruise. I'm not a huge fan of in particular. I mean, there's certain roles that I appreciate him in. I can appreciate certain things, the way he does things, like doing his own stunts. But I also think he's a colossal jackass. And he really can't pull off sympathetic very well.
I will say this, though, about him. He knows what his fans want.
Yeah, he runs in 70% of his movies. So what's the next running in space going to be? On the treadmill? So he's actually running in a movie?
No, I think what's going... This is my theory, and I don't know how well it will age. I think he's trying to go out on a bang. And that's what this Top Gun movie was. And that's what's going to be the last two Mission Impossibles. And I really think he's going to probably start to taper off after this. I mean, the guy is 60 years old. I mean, yeah, he's in great shape. He's in better shape than my fucking ass is at 42, but still, there's only, you're only going to be able to do this for so long.
As I said, I think he's kind of nuts.
Kinda.
That's like when people try to tell me, and that's like people say Trump is a narcissist. I'm like, and I'm a sociopath. So what? I
Well,
know Trump
okay,
is a
but there's like
narcissist.
different levels of being a narcissist. There's
Well, there's
jerk
different
the
levels
heart
of being a
and cold, and then there's-
sociopath, but
then-
I'm still one of them.
yeah, but I'm just saying when people are saying that Trump is a narcissist, it's because he's dangerously narcissistic. Whereas, you know, you're not. I'm not afraid that you're going to go on a stabbing rampage throughout, you know, wherever you're located at.
Do you know how hard it would be for me to do that? I live in the sticks with only 600 people.
If
I have to
Jason
drive-
Voorhees can do it, you can do it.
I've got better things to do with my time.
He doesn't want to hang around the lake. Okay.
Actually, I prefer the lake. We actually have a very nice lake here that I do prefer to go to because despite as much time as I grew up in Florida and on the coast, I fucking hate the ocean.
I prefer the ocean over a lake.
Sorry, I'm the other way around. I prefer a lake over an ocean.
It depends on the lake and it depends on the ocean.
They're going to Lake Havens as a kid and slide rock all the time. Like, nah, I got bored out. I'd rather-
Okay, lakes in Florida. Okay, lakes in Florida, you know what your risk is.
Well, lakes all along the Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
Oh,
you either
yeah,
have
that is
snakes
true,
or
okay.
you have snakes or gators. Watch out.
Okay, fair enough. You are right about that. Snakes or gators. But I grew up a lot of that time in Florida and in North and South Carolina near beaches. So it's kind of like, I just don't like the beaches. I don't like the undercurrents. I don't like the waves. I don't like the fucking hot ass sand. There's so many things I just don't like about the ocean. Ironically, it's funny. The older people get, I've noticed they see. My mom used to go to the ocean all the time, and now she's in her 60s and she hardly goes at all. She's like, I'm over it.
I live by the ocean. Hell, I'm surrounded by water on 3 sides. I haven't been to the beach in a while. It's been kind of crowded.
I'll tell the tourists to go home, man. It's September.
That's just the hottest month of the year here. September. This is the tourist.
Yes, I know September is the hottest month of the year, but most of these people should be, shouldn't be too many kids. They should all be back at school right now.
August and September is the high tourist areas for the city.
Yeah, that's probably why your governor is saying, put your thermostat up to 78 degrees. I can't even think of the last time I had a thermostat that high.
72, not 78.
No, he said 78.
Why did he say 78? It's supposed to be 72.
He said 78.
I had been misspoke.
No, I'm telling you, he said 78 degrees. I'm sorry. I've never... My thermostat in my house is usually between 68 and 72.
Yeah, that's about 72 supposed to be what it's supposed to be. I say it's got to be a misspoke because Gavin does misspeak sometimes.
All politicians misspeak sometimes.
Yeah.
But sometimes they do it unintentionally and sometimes they do it intentionally.
Just understand, politicians are generally, I won't say they're lying, but they're probably deflecting the truth or over exaggerating or under blah, blah, blah. You name it. If the three of us follow enough politics to know, we know how this game is played. And we're the three guys with different ideologies. Oh, speaking of that, hey, when do you guys want to start working on the Orville?
Whenever you want.
How about we start working on that around October?
Yeah, just remind me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll start with the first season. We'll start with the first episode, and we'll go from there. We'll go through all 3 seasons because, like I said, I want to hear the liberal, the conservative, and the independent perspective.
Well, Elihu, are you a registered Democrat or what are you registered as?
Independent.
Oh, never mind then, because I'm also independent.
Yeah, but Elihu's more a classical liberal. You Mike, I would say seems more libertarian.
But the thing is, I hate certain aspects of the libertarians.
No, it's okay. I don't like everything about being
Like,
I don't like everything that conservatives sometimes agree with, and I don't like the fact that some people say that. Well, if you're a conservative, you have to think this. No, I fucking don't.
No, you don't.
like I'll give you an example of one thing recently that happened, but this was more of in the liberal area. In one of my Facebook groups, someone made a joke saying that so and so is their spirit animal, and I thought it was funny. Okay.
Okay.
Whereas the person, one of the moderators of the group, basically dogpiled on this guy for making a comment that was or a joke at the expense of Native Americans.
Didn't Chakotay teach
Yeah,
Janeway how to use the new technology for her to be able to see her spirit animal?
yeah, I know. But this was, as I said, this was just a joke, and I'm like, one, as someone who is part of the Native American, race, if you want to go that far, or at least I'm genealogically a quarter Native American, who do have spirit animal beliefs, I found this funny. Two, this particular group is an atheist group. Woo is fucking woo. Everything's fair game. And she was like, the moderator says, well, can't you just say something like, is my Patronus instead? And I'm like, so you want to, instead of insulting Native Americans, you want them to insult trans people, because the writer of the Harry Potter series who came up with Patronus is a bigot towards trans people. And she's like, well, that's different. And I'm like, no, it's not. If you're going to complain about making fun of one group, you can't make fun of any group. And that's not what this particular Facebook group is about. It's about making fun of everything.
Isn't that the point of comedy?
Yeah. And I nearly got kicked out of my own liberal group because apparently I was too not liberal.
I hate to say it, but that's seems kind of where that side is going. It's you gotta keep going further. I mean, for lack of a better term, you gotta keep going further left. You gotta keep going further on the line. You gotta toe line. You can't disagree with the narrative. And I'm only using words that have been used. I'm not saying you guys do this, because I get similar shit where I'll bring up something conservative related, and I'll post something from a .gov site or a reputable site, and somebody be like, "Stop looking at Fox News." I'm like, I don't even have fucking Fox News. The only way I can listen to Fox News, I can't even watch it. The only way I can even listen to it is on my satellite radio. That's the only way I can listen to it. Just the same as CNN and MSNBC. And you know what? I don't want their fucking news because I know they're all biased. But at least the conservative channels I listen to, and the because I'll be honest, I don't like Sean Hannity. I don't care for him. I mean, I'm glad he's doing good with his show and everything. That's fine, but I don't like him. I don't agree with him on a lot of things he says because he's very hyperbolic.
Well, it's funny you should say that, MB, because in some of his lawsuits, he's basically said that he tried to defend himself, saying that he's actually a parody of conservative news hosts, and no reasonable person would ever think what he's saying is true.
Do you know one of the reasons why I do not like watching CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and all the other crap? It's because when a reporter reports the news, they're not supposed to put their own opinion or spin on it. It's supposed to be fact, this is what happened. This is what the local news does. Less than 1% of the chance when you watch any local news across the country, you hear an opinion based on a story. All you hear is facts and what happened. This is what news is supposed to be. Not a personal opinion from the reporter or the anchor person. No, report what happened and what is happening, period. I don't want to hear your opinion. I don't want to hear what another person does, because that's putting your own opinion and spin on the story. Just report what happened.
The only opinions
I want. I got to stop you there, Elihu. Sorry, MB. if you're talking about, that's the difference between an opinion show and a news show. The problem is most of the stuff on Fox is not news, it's opinion. Similar to how Rachel Maddow is not a news show per se, it's an opinion show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's why I would disagree with you, because Hannity has every right to do things the way he is doing it, because technically it's not a news show.
Well, it's like the guy I listen to, Wilkow, Andrew Wilkow. I don't know if you guys know his name. But he flat out says, I am not a news show. Yes, I talk about what's going in the news, but I am an opinion show. I have a journalist degree. I don't use it. He's like, this is how I think. These are my opinions. You can either agree with them or not. But at least, people like him admit, I'm an opinion person. People like Hannity still think they're talking to like Sean Spencer, who thinks they're talking news. And I'm like, no, you're not giving news. You're just giving your opinion.
Like Jon Stewart and Oliver, they both say they are not actual news. They do their own opinion and joke stories.
Yes.
And people like, no, that's fine. He's wrong. He put his opinion. He's like, yeah, did you hear what he said? He is not a news reporter. He's a parody. He makes fun of the news. This is what he does. This is what Stewart does. He has positive and he has negative. He has factual and his opinions. And when it's factual, if he's wrong, they'll admit they're wrong. Okay, I messed up the story. But they're going to make fun of that story. But it's all satire with some truth with the narrative in there. But 90% of the time, it's satire shit. It's not real news. You want to laugh and get informed? Watch Oliver. Watch Stewart. You want to laugh and get sick to stomach? Watch Alex Jones.
Oh, I can't stand Alex Jones.
I know, all those gay frogs are messing up this country. I know.
No, I can't stand him mostly because when he says something wrong, instead of admitting it, he has to basically double down. And that's not how a normal person should do things.
Well, he reminds me of a lot of the leftists. Whereas when they get something wrong, they blame it on somebody else. They make excuses, blah, blah, blah. Alex Jones is about as reputable as Joy Reid or any of the chicks on The View.
Yeah, The View is another one of those shows I can't stand.
No, you can't stand these kind of, because what they're doing is, and this is the big thing. This is why I don't watch these. Yes, I'll watch maybe a few, segments that pop up on YouTube, but I prefer listening to people who are more grounded, more local level. Like I listen to two particular conservatives who are just regular, everyday YouTubers. They've gotten very good on their platforms, and I'm happy for both of them. But, they come out, they try to do their best, they give their thoughts, and they take clips from different areas. And, they give their thoughts on it and what's going on. And, yes, they are opinion-based. But at least I know they're opinion-based. It's not trying to be like, Hannity or what's the black gay guy's name on CNN?
I don't know that one's names. I don't pay attention anymore.
I don't know, to be honest.
Anyway, but then you have them, then you have Rachel Maddow, and you have Brian Skelter, and
Rachel Maddow,
and even Cuomo for a time, just blatantly giving their opinions and trying to change narratives and minds. And I'm like, then you're an opinion source. You are not a journalist. You are not talking about the news, because the news, the news should be relatively boring. It should just be facts. Hey, there was a shooting here. Somebody was killed. Shots fired, blah, blah, blah. Will get you more when the cops have something to say about it, instead of just immediately, as first chance they get, it's like, oh, black guy shot by white cop. Oh, let's go immediately see the family and what they have to say in their moment of grief.
MB, have you ever
I
watched
hate that shit?
Have you ever watched a show with what's his name? Jeff Daniels, called The Newsroom?
No, I have not seen that. I know it's
Oh
on like
my
HBO, right?
Gosh, dude.
I've seen it, and yeah, Jeff Daniels did a fantastic job playing a centrist in that show.
I'm like, wow, this is a well done told story.
And what's funny is,
Really, he played a you. Wait a minute, Mike. You're telling me he played a centrist?
he played a conservative centrist.
Great,
And
great
he did it, and he did it well.
Yes,
Extremely well.
yes. I was
Because
surprised. I'm like, wow, I can see that too.
As much as his talking points were on the right, he tore down the far right rhetoric, and this was long before Trump even took office. So it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think I heard about this show. I remember seeing a trailer for it. I just haven't got to it yet. But look, I have no problem. You know, the funny thing is everybody thinks conservatives were all Republicans, we're all MAGA. Okay.
They didn't used to be. That's the whole thing.
No, I used to. I mean, I'd be the first one to admit I voted for Barack Obama back when it was the first election.
Proposition 27.
Sorry. Did you guys
I
hear that?
voted for Obama because
Yeah,
I thought he was the best candidate for president, period.
Hold
No,
on.
I didn't vote for him in 2000. I didn't vote for him in 12. I voted for Romney. And trust me, not exactly a great choice on my part.
Yes.
On to the next question.
Hold on.
Hi.
This is for you, NB. Can you guys hear it?
Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you.
Oh, yes, I've heard this one.
In one sentence or less, what? You know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
It's not.
Diversity
Just watch.
and opportunity. Lewis? Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Listen to his response. I love this. I love this scene.
The New York Jets.
Sorry, I'm going to pause it every once in a while just so I don't get dinged.
Oh yeah, I know.
So,
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it, diversity and opportunity.
sorry, I got to keep pausing it.
One of the things, though, is he is
Hold on,
right
hold on.
and wrong in certain areas of this response.
I'm not letting you go back to the airport without answering the question.
Screw it. I'll just play the whole thing.
It's a great speech.
Well, our Constitution is a masterpiece. James Madison was a genius. The Declaration of Independence is, for me, the single greatest piece of American writing. You don't look satisfied.
One's a set of laws and the other's a declaration of war. I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is
It's not
America
the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You're saying
Yes.
Let's talk about
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? Hey, and with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yet you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the Worst period, generation, period, ever, period. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Remedy? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars. Acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men, men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one.
All right.
Yeah, he has
That's a good show.
he has a lot of good points. One of the things I will say that when they talk about education and stuff, we have to remember that our current evaluation of education is not if you graduated high school. It is all about your education level going to college. You know, whether you got a 2-year degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a fucking doctorate. But they never take into account people like my daughter who went and became a hairstylist, went to a trade school, or someone who became an apprentice as a plumber, or someone who became a mason worker, or someone who became a carpenter. You know, these are not things you go to college for. These are things you go into apprenticeships and trades for. And honestly, I'm one of those people. When my daughter, who did not graduate high school, she had to get a GED. And that's a long story. But she managed to get her GED. She managed to finish out her hairstyling career, and within a week had a fucking job. How many people out of college have that ability?
You have lawyers working at Taco Bell. You have doctors working at fast food restaurants.
Hold on. I want to point out one of the things. There's a difference between the trade school you're talking about, NB, and college. And that is, college isn't just about teaching you a trade skill or something regarding the field you're going to go into. It's also meant to teach you more about how the world works in particular.
Hola, Mrs. Viola.
Yeah, well, there's an issue with the hello, Mr. Well, here's the thing. That's one of the reasons I did not go to college. First off, when I was I was 18 years old. And one thing I learned during my time in the military, especially with a lot of young kids between the Marine Corps and the Air Force, a lot of them went to college straight after high school, and a lot of them joined the military within a year or two of that. And I'd always ask the same question. I was like, so why'd you leave college? And the question has almost universally been the same. I was burnt the fuck out. They just weren't ready for another 4 years, especially in a completely different environment. I mean, these kids are going to college. It's a whole nother ball game. My entire college was night school and online. I didn't start that until my late 20s, early 30s. I sometimes think that sending kids to school for college at 18, 19 is kind of a bad thing. And my kids, for example, my son, he struggles with schooling. He's not, that's why we homeschool. One of the reasons we homeschool, because a lot of the problems, and this is one of the things I say when everybody says we need to fix education, I'm like, get rid of the Department of Education. It has no business existing. It's not in the Constitution. This should be a state and local issue. Let's see how each of the states do it, and let's see if we can find the best system and stop expecting DC to fix everything.
They tried that. That's why the separation happened, because certain states were doing certain education and not informing people. Like, for instance, the South, they had education saying, okay, slavery was just a part of all of our history. In the North, they had slavery was a bad part of history. See, different states taught different things. That's why the Department of Education was created, to have universal education throughout the country. So everybody would taught the exact same thing. But nowadays, books are getting banned because states are going
Elihu, I agree with you in sentiment, but as of right now, primarily, 2 states have more control over our education system than any other states, and that's California and Texas.
I know, because it's the biggest contributor to the country, financially.
Well, look at it this way. Who decides what is the best for that state's education? We are not talking 1979.
Those state school boards.
Oh, hold on a second. Can I finish here real quick, Mike?
Oh,
we're
sorry.
not talking 1979 when the Department of Education was created, which I was a full product of because I was born in 1979. So I have seen education my entire life crumble worse and worse. And I'm not talking one state. I'm talking 5, 6, 7 states. I could literally name every state I went to school in and the one country. And I can name every state my kids went to school in.
Can you give me an example of how it failed? How can you give me a little example?
Yeah, I can give you examples of how it failed. With my oldest daughter, they did not hold her to account. They did not try to work with her. They just literally put her in the back of the room, actually separated her from it, and then just kept giving me referral after referral of something she did. One time she got a referral for calling a guy a fathead. And we were getting these sheets every day that we just got to a point where, like, oh my God, we just started throwing them out. And I actually got to a point, I told the teacher, I'm like, unless she fucking spits, kicks, bites, scratches, or punches or does anything violent, I don't want to fucking hear anymore from your goddamn slips. I should have pulled her out of that. And then high school, then that was in California. South Carolina, she went to high school. And oh my God, we lived so close to the school, she'd walk to the school. I would literally get called from the school saying, she's not here. I would have to go find her at home, send her to school, and then find out 3 hours later, she left the school on her own without a slip or anything and just went back home. Or they'd call me and say, yeah, she was in the cafeteria all day. I'm like, why the hell didn't you make her go to school? And then when my wife and I would have these meeting after meeting, it's like, what are you all doing to stop this? It's like, I'm at work. My wife's at work. We're on the base. I'm like, you're supposed to be responsible for her. Why aren't you sending a truancy officer? Well, we could do that, but we really don't see a point because we can't keep her here. And look, she was literally a junior with freshman credits at best. She ended up going to juvie. She screwed up, went to juvie, got a GED, and she only got the GED because I was there supporting her to get it. My son, oh God, he had speech issues. He couldn't say 2 words in a sentence structure at 3 years old. So we had to put him in speech therapy. Then we got to school. He was in special ed. We dropped the speech therapy outside, had it just in the classroom, moved him from a couple of different schools to try and get a better thing. We were regularly engaged with the school board or the school staff and the teachers and everything. I mean, we were very involved. And it was just, I'd be like, they'd give us a call like, your son is kicking the desk and throwing things. And I was going through a bad time in 2016, so I was really laying into my son hard, and I shouldn't have been. But we got to the point where my wife went to Turkey, and I'm alone with the kids again, dealing with the school without her. And I just, after the last visit I had with the teachers, because I'm like, you've been teaching my son for 1.5 years. I'm like, you've been talking about this kicking, this throwing. I'm like, you mention it regularly. I'm like, what is triggering him? What is, we really don't know. We don't know what's going on. And of course, my son at 11, 12 years old isn't going to be able to tell me what the hell's going on. 2 weeks after that, I told my wife, I was like, I think we should do homeschooling. And we've been doing it for 3 years. And my son's reading level has gone from a 5th grader at a kindergarten level to he's now 8th grade level, probably working at a 6th, 7th grade level, which is huge in 3 years. My daughter can write and read in cursive. My son, we tried with cursive with him. It's just not working out. But that's okay. I'm focusing on what he needs.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question from the school's perspective. Has any other parents complained about this besides you?
I did not ask them.
That's what I would have asked. It was like, okay, is it just my kids? So then with your teacher perspective, what's the entire school itself? I had asked that question, dude.
I didn't think to ask that question. I was focusing on my kid, not everybody else's.
Yeah,
There's
because
25 kids. Well, that's the other thing. There's 25 kids in the room, and there's the teacher and the TA. And the kids are stuck there 8 hours a goddamn day. Whereas my kids, school is more maybe 2 hours at the longest. And we get through reading, writing, arithmetic, and whatever electives we have, whether they be current events, this day in history. My son's 15, so now we're starting to work with him on getting his permit, things like that, and it's kind of one of these things where it seemed hard at first, but it's kind of like you realize as a parent, I've been teaching my kids my whole life. Why should this be any harder? And our kids, have thrived from it. It works for us. Unfortunately, public education, especially when COVID hit, I lived across the street from one lady who was a teacher, who also lived next to these 2 women who were common law married. I found out. I thought they were legally married, but they were common law married. One was a teacher, one was a superintendent. And when COVID hit, oh my God, I felt for them because they were stressing so hard. They were getting it from both ends, the parents and the administration.
And that's when the PPEs started to come out. And if you were not rich enough, your PPEs were not forgiven. Yeah, you had to pay them back. So a lot of teachers were actually suffering and still asking for donations because they have to pay for supplies and repay the PPEs.
Oh, yeah, it was rough even in South Carolina. I mean, you had teachers who, were trying to do, adjust to this virtual schooling. And then they were, saying they were getting call after call, text after text from the parents.
You're talking about one right there, Mrs. Vile. Had to adjust to virtual learning.
She a teacher?
Yeah, she's a teacher.
What grades does she teach?
Various.
Is her education K through 6 or K through 12? That's what I was asking.
If you don't remember, good answer. Various.
But
well, my wife's education degree was, I believe, K through 6. That's what her bachelor's was in. So that's why I was asking that. But yeah, that whole virtual learning thing, I didn't agree with that. I was like, I managed to get my kids out of school before that crap all started. And I was just like, this was a bad idea.
What's the difference between virtual learning and virtual conferencing at work? It's the same thing.
One are children, one are adults.
Yeah, but still, you get your information.
No, it's not. Yes, still, Elihu. You put an adult in front of a conference. Okay, they're gonna probably do their best to pay attention. Okay, junior high, cool. Okay, so K through 8. Is it 8 now?
Junior high is 7th and 8th grade. High school is
Well, remember, they only have 3 high school years, so basically it's the equivalent of 7th to 9th grade.
Well, 7th and 8th was middle school for me.
Well, I went to middle school, which was 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then after my 6th grade, I went to a junior high school in a different place, which was 7th and 8th. So, and then if you go back to my hometown, they've already they changed up the schools there. I don't even know what they are anymore. They changed my junior high to a middle school. My high school is still a high school. The other middle school we had, I guess, has got some grade levels in it too, as well as middle school. Oh, kids from 12 to 15. Oh, junior high specifically. Okay, I got you. I got you, Mrs. Vile. Thank you,
Mercer. Hi, Mercer. Hi, Cinnabunny. I didn't see Cinnabunny in there. I just saw Mercer.
Yeah, he made the joke. I highlighted it earlier. Me made the joke. He did Sunday again because I streamed yesterday. Sunday. Yep.
I'm not a football guy, so really couldn't care less.
Yeah, my best way description of football, how to describe American football to a tourist or somebody not from America. You got a rectangle field of 110 yards, and you got a bunch of millionaires fighting over an egg-shaped ball.
And 4 hours to watch. About an hour and 30 that'll be commercials. The other hour and 30 minutes will be a part of the other hour and 30 minutes will be penalties, people taking a knee, somebody throwing something out of bounds, or some shit like that where they're just standing around for a minute and a half running down that goddamn clock.
No, the way one person explained football to me as a joke was it's a sports game where the only thing that matters is the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Oh, no. The worst part is when you get to the 2-minute mark, and that's when they start taking the knee and just winding the clock down. I'm like, God damn.
Hey, at least baseball has a clock now. You have a certain amount of time to throw the pitch. You have a certain amount of time between innings. I'm glad baseball finally sped it up because it used to be maybe sometimes 5-10 minutes before the pitcher actually gets ready to throw. No, you got 2.5 minutes to do this now.
No, I didn't know that. I haven't watched baseball in a long time.
Yeah, now they have automated umpires, which basically means Angel Hernandez can no longer call bad shots.
They also now have video reviews, and
yes.
The Padres got hit with one recently where it looked like the original call on the field was essentially he got hit by the pitcher, which means he should walk to the first base.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Instead, they realized that the pitcher nearly hit the guy, but because he was trying to dodge it, the ball technically hit the knob of the bat, not him. So because it hit the bat, that constitutes as a hit.
Yes.
And because the catcher caught it, he was out. I know.
I mean, I don't like the video review thing, but
dude, it's like flopping in soccer. Who wants a flop when you can actually watch a video review? Flopping 20 years ago, okay, it wasn't a flop. He got it was a foul. Nowadays, you got somebody flopping. It's like, holy shit! Look at this. It's on purpose. Look at the instant replay. Idiots who flop in soccer are idiots. People who want
no. A flop. You want to talk about bad flops? Watch basketball.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah, watch those guys before they really started to. I mean, I think the NBA, at least recently, I'd heard. I don't know. This might have been a year or two ago. They've started really cracking down on these fake knockdowns. And I've seen some of them in the replays where I'm like, the guy's hand goes back, doesn't even connect to the guy, and the guy flops back. It's like, oh, give me a break, you fuckhead.
It's like a bad 90s karate movie. You didn't even touch the guy.
Yeah,
That's
there
what
you
you have to understand. When you become a basketball player, you actually learn a little bit about the force, and you're able to do force push and force kicks.
And apparently, in Michael Jordan's case, forced jumps.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say this. I'm from St. Louis, so I have no love for Chicago, but even we were watching back in the day the Bulls just to watch Johnson.
Jordan,
sorry, not Johnson, not Magic Johnson. God damn it.
Magic was LA.
Yeah, Magic was LA. And then, but weren't both of them on the dream team in the Olympics?
Yes. And so was Barkley. So I had a little feud started. Yes, Charles Barkley is an asshole in real life.
So what? I'm an asshole in real life.
When he said I'm not a role model, I'm like, thank you. I think he was the one that got into a fight with Danny Ainge at his bar and threw him through the window.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, Danny Ainge had a bar in Phoenix, and allegedly Charles Barkley was there, and they got into a fight, and somebody got thrown through a window.
Hmm. I'll be honest, if I ever got a chance to, if I could ever go back in the past and see something like that, I'd love to see my ex-sister-in-law throw my ex-wife through a window like she said she did. Hey, I'm just saying. I know it happened because both of them confirmed it. And I remember my ex-wife was like, my sister threw me through a window. I'm like, this one? She goes, yeah. I'm like, well, I pulled this card. What'd you do? What'd you say? She's like, I didn't say anything. I'm like, I spent 15 years with you. I know you said something.
Oh, yeah. Trying to talk logic into my kids when one of them was complaining about how annoying their little brother was. And I try to explain to him, I'm sorry, has Jake ever shot you with a gun? Well, no. Then stop complaining.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious when my and I still think of her as a sissy in a way. She's my daughter's aunt. She's close with her at times. I've known her since she was 12 because I met her when I was 15. So I've still been close with parts of that family, even though my ex and I have been divorced now for, thank God, over 16 fucking years. But it was so funny when I heard that because I heard it actually from my ex-sister-in-law. And she goes, yeah, I had an interesting day. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, I threw your ex-wife through a window. My response was, what'd she fucking say? And she laid out what her sister said. And I'm like, I'm amazed you let her talk that long before throwing her through the damn window. Let me put it this way. My ex-wife knows how to push buttons. The problem is she doesn't know when to stop.
Oh, this is nice.
I actually asked her afterwards. I said, did you by chance get that on video? She's like, no, my husband didn't have the video available, didn't have the camera. I was like, damn it, I would have loved to have seen it. Hey, you know what? You can call me a bad person for that. You didn't live 15 years with that woman.
Holy shit. This is expensive. Damn.
What?
Oh, let me show you.
Actually, here's the funny thing, Mike. My ex-wife is actually on YouTube. She's one of those people who lost her shit at a Starbucks.
Oh, groovy.
Yeah, Mava Globe Jupiter.
Look at this. $200
For a globe of Jupiter?
Wait, how big
Yeah.
is that?
2 pounds, 4.5 inches diameter.
Yeah, that I don't know if that's really worth it, considering Jupiter changes its surface a lot, so it's only accurate for like 1 hour.
Yeah, the moon is about $100. I'm like, damn, this is expensive shit. Look at this.
Whoa. Go back up there. Scroll back up real quick. What was that? Put all those in there for $600?
Yeah, you can get Jupiter, Mars, and Earth with clouds.
Dude, I don't have that kind of disposable income.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? 6-inch Mars globe is $300. Look at this.
If I could afford stuff like that, I wouldn't be begging for money on the internet.
Yeah, me too. Look at this. Look how small that thing is. $300
You're
for Mars.
saying that's 4 pounds?
And the Mars is 1.5 inches bigger than Jupiter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm one of those people. I like my stuff to scale as much as possible. So I hate.
I would be in the same boat with you on that, Mike.
Like, I liked the idea of the Eagle Moss stuff back when they were making the Star Trek stuff, but every time I saw it, I'm like, I don't want my Oberth class being the same size as a Sovereign. I want them to be to scale.
Yeah, I want a huge Jupiter, basketball-sized Jupiter at least, not just something like 6 inches.
One of the things that I have is the old toy from the 90s or early 80s. I can't remember which. It was the Tantive 4 from Star Wars, the Rebel Blockade Runner.
Mm.
And it's a good 1.5 feet long. So I thought, what would be great to build a scale model fleet from Star Wars out of this stuff. But the only, me and my daughter at the time did some calculations, and I realized to scale would be the Micro Machines starfighters. Some of those would be to scale. We found a Millennium Falcon that just happens to be to scale with it. And even if you look at it, the Millennium Falcon's tiny compared to it still, if you're talking about, actual scale modeling.
Yeah.
And one of the things she wanted to do was try to build a Star Destroyer to go with it. And I measured out how big a Star Destroyer would have to be compared to the little Tantive we've got, which, as I said, is about 1.5 feet long. The Star Destroyer would be about 50 meters long.
Damn.
Sounds about. Now, I'm all for scale if you're going to say, okay, this is 1/24th, this is 1/16th, this is 1/8. Okay, I can get the proportion. And I'm like you. I have a lot of Eagle. I have a lot of Eagle Moss I bought over the last few years. Unfortunately, I had a few that got damaged, and now it's going to be a bitch to replace them since Eagle Moss got greedy and went bankrupt. And last time I checked,
they ended up doing that.
I don't either.
They seem to have they had a market. They had. I know plenty of people were buying them. I don't understand how they failed so miserably.
I think I do. This is just my basic guess. If you went to Eagle Moss's site and you were trying to find certain things, a lot of times they would be out of stock of them. If you went to their website, you would go I'd go to the Star Wars site or the Star Trek site, and I'd be looking up specifically what I was looking for. I'd be like, Gumto out of stock, Doomsday out of stock. And I'm not talking for a week or a month. I'm talking for 6 months. They did not get them back in stock. I had to find the Doomsday machine, which I did finally find. I haven't put the battery in it. But I did finally get it, and I had to find it off of eBay.
Oh, man.
And I got it for about this. Yes, it is very nice. It's one of the. in my opinion, it's one of my crown jewels I have because it's one of my favorite episodes of TOS. You know, their stuff is generally good, but some of the biggest problems I've had with Eagle Moss is, well, their stands are not very good. Their clips to hold the ship in tend to not be very well made, and they break, and sometimes some of the ship breaks, and there is nothing you can do.
Okay, thank you for making me feel old, Elihu.
You're welcome.
Well, remember when we started smoking, it was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
sorry.
was actually something my
When
daughter.
I started smoking, I was 9.
No, I started smoking at 14. So what?
When is Mr. CCDV going live today? He said he's going live because it's 9/11.
Oh man, yeah. I'm trying to avoid talking, man. It's been 21 years, and I spent. Oh God, guys, I spent 18 years dealing with that war, and then the sidetrack, the Iraq War, which I'm going to be honest with you all, I fucking did not agree with. Never have, never will. So fuck you, Bush, for that one.
Yeah, before that happened, Iraq, Baghdad was the #1 museum in Europe and the East Coast for antiquities. Then, after America arrived, all museums got about 90% stolen. Like, wow, what happened? A lot of American soldiers got rich, and some got put in jail, some were never caught.
Oh, that happens every fucking war.
Yeah, but Baghdad was the mere museum. Now it's no
Baghdad
longer.
had one of the best, despite Saddam. It was
Yeah.
a very good museum.
Hey, look, I'm not saying Saddam was a good person, but I find that America. Okay, let me ask you guys this based on your ideologies. Okay, before World War II, we were more of an isolationist country. We rarely went very extreme on the pendulum for that. Since then, we've kind of been the world's police in a sense, or the world's defender. Like, for example, in that one clip you did, where he talks about we outspend every other country in defense. We outspend these many countries in defense. 25 of them are allies. Well, yeah, but those other 25 are pretty much depending on our money and our resources. And that's one of the reasons they weren't putting their proper GDP into NATO when you had the UK and America overspending on our GDP for NATO. And it just drives me nuts because it's like, okay, you want us to leave the rest of the world alone? Because trust me, I'd be more than happy to leave most of them alone and call it a fucking day.
No, see, the way I look at it, I don't have an issue with the United States being a police force internationally, as long as we act in accordance with both NATO and our allies and the UN. The problem is the United States seems to just ignore the UN most of the time.
That's where I'm actually glad at, because I think the UN is bullshit.
I think the UN is, well, see, I don't think the UN is bullshit. I think the UN has stopped more wars than anything else in the last 60 years.
I don't think it's done a lot of good.
The problem is the UN doesn't step in when they need to.
No, the UN half-asses so much shit, it's ridiculous. And
I also don't like the idea of the Security Council having permanent members.
I would agree with that 100%. I don't like the fact that one person in that power can veto anything.
Yeah, and especially when if something happens where just one of the permanent members happens to have a dictator installed, essentially, what happens? It's now their show.
What is the point of the Security Council and the United Nations where they don't talk to each other? What is the point of that? I mean, this is where everybody talks about the New World Order, where there should be one centralized government to report for everything. that does not reflect, does not hinder anybody's religious beliefs, sexual beliefs, physical handicap, mental, whatever, anything like that, any personal ideology. It's supposed to be centralized government. That's what people are actually for a new world order, like the Federation in Star Trek. You don't have a single government; you have one planetary government.
Well, I disagree with that because the Federation was actually more like America than it was any other nation.
Well, I think hold on. I think he's talking about the fact that the Earth itself was one government within the Federation.
Yes, it was. It was not separated per continent, per territory. It was Earth government. It was not France government. It was not Germany government. It was not American government. It was not Mexican government. It was Earth government. And everybody respected each other's ideology.
Yes, and we've seen different interpretations of one world government. You have the Federation, which shows it going great. Then you have the Expanse, which shows that, hey, this might not exactly be the best way to do it. And there was another one that had a world government. Let's just put it this way. One world government ain't never going to work because you are never going to get the 100 and whatever recognized nations around the world to all agree on one thing. It's not going to happen. You are not going to get, you can't even get 330 million Americans to agree on shit.
I know.
You guys live in California. I live in frickin' Indiana. We have very cultural and ideological differences. I'm a Midwesterner. You guys are coastals, Western coastals. And I'm not using that derogatory. I'm just, stating we are culturally different. I mean, you guys are actually culturally, despite how everybody likes to talk about New York, Texas, and California, you all three are the biggest states you guys have huge ideological differences. I know California is very different from New York.
And I'm going to break it down even more. I'm going to talk about a city. Look back at 30 years ago, Bloods and Crips, different ideologies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, different cities itself. Humanity cannot even come together unless it's actually done by force.
Well, you look at like my home state of Illinois. Chicago kind of thinks they run the whole state. And a lot of people in my home state, we hate Chicago. We hate everything around it because it's like we feel that they are just entitled little bitches who bitch, mope, and complain. And it's like, you keep voting. You guys are the deciding vote in our elections for the most part, whether it be presidential, governor, or senator. It doesn't really matter what the rest of the state votes because Cook County and those surrounding boroughs there, I can't think of another name, they have the majority of the population and they vote very heavily blue. So that's why everybody says Illinois is a blue state, which unfortunately it's not true. It's just out of 116 counties, I think we have, there's maybe 6 counties that are deep blue. The rest are pink and red, but we just don't have the population.
Sorry, I'm still posting stuff to the eBay store, and I came across this, and I'm just like, how are you pronouncing that name?
Doris Day?
No. Story by Daniel
Fox. Daniel Fox.
I mean, unless you want to go with Fudge.
Or Fouché.
Fouché would need the accent. No, you need the accent over the U. No, to do
Fouché, but it's still, I'm like, Daniel Fox? Oh, yeah, Daniel Fox.
Well, I mean, if it was Fouché.
Hey, guys, it's pronounced, hang on. It is actually pronounced Fuchs.
Fuchs. Okay, I can believe that.
I just looked it up. It's pronounced Fuchs.
All right.
Well, you said Fouché, and I'm like that.
Posting, but I, while looking at the picture, I was just like, what?
Well, when you said Fouché, I'm thinking, yeah, it needs the accent over the U for that.
Yeah, that's why I had to look it up.
Well, we don't exactly do accents around here unless it's, something I had to tell my kids. I was like, yeah, if you have some that has an accent, that's actually not an American word. At least not like I dated a girl named Renee, and she actually had the accent on one of the E's, the second to last E. I don't know how all that shit works, but
Kind of like how you spell Madison with 2 M's and 1 Y, but not where you think.
Oh, there was a video.
You watched She-Hulk, didn't you? You watched She-Hulk, didn't you, Elihu?
There was a video on TikTok I was watching about a woman who regretted naming her kid, and she was like, I'm not regretting that I named my daughter Chloe. I'm regretting the way that I thought would be really cool, considering I was 19 when I had her, how to spell it. Well, first of all, because my name starts with a K, I had to spell hers with a K. So it's Chloe with a K. And to make it even more unique, it's Chloe with 2 E's. So it's Kolhee or something like that. And then I'm like, you know what it needs? It needs an accent over the other E. And I explained this to the nurse while she was following the paperwork after I gave birth. The problem is they, of course, need the paperwork right away, and I was still high on drugs because she had the epidural. That's what she was referring to. And so when the nurse finally submitted the paperwork, it wasn't an accent over the E. It was Chloe apostrophe E.
She could have just had that changed.
So her daughter's legal name is
Chloe
E.
Chloe. I love that. Chloe.
Well, instead of bitching about it on TikTok, she could have a long time ago gone and gotten that changed and corrected easily.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting it in. That's the name for the person. Yes, she could legally change it.
Chloe.
But the problem, a friend of mine has legally changed his name. And the problem is, on every document, he still has to put down his original name.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I didn't change. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I didn't change my name, because my dad pissed me off so bad about a year ago that I actually was talking to my mom about changing my first name, which would effectively killed my suffix because I'm the second.
I'm the third.
Yeah. But yeah, well, the difference is you're the third. Everybody will call you the third. You try being a second and have people like, oh, you're a junior. And I'm like, don't make me fucking hit you. They're like, what's the difference between junior and second? I said, one is my name, one isn't. And it's funny, you know who I got the most defense from? Thirds and juniors who were like, dude, that's not his name.
Dude, about 20 years ago, I had the third legally taken off of all my documents. I got tired of the regular 3 on there. I'm like, fuck this.
Well, what I hate, and I don't know what's more annoying when I get in the mail. When I get something that has my suffix as junior or my suffix as capital I, little I. I don't know which one annoys me more. I think the junior probably annoys me the most, but that capital I, little I, I'm like, you couldn't figure out what that meant. You couldn't figure out what the 2 I's meant. I actually had one point we had when I had to put my profile together at work one time. I'm sitting there going through and it's like suffix and it's like junior, third, fourth, this, that. And I'm like, yeah, where's the second on here? They didn't put it on there. I'm like, well, then how the hell am I supposed to put my suffix? So I had to manually put my suffix in. And then, of course, every email I got afterwards was my first name, my last name, capital I, little I. I was
Alright.
you sons of bitches. I'm sorry, I know that's petty, but it's my fucking name. And my dad pissed me off so bad, I was actually thinking about changing my name from Jess to Jesse. Since I go by Jesse a lot. Actually, I did that mainly back in school because I wanted to be differentiated from my dad. And I'm not going to lie, it did kind of make me a little glad that it pissed my dad off whenever anybody called me Jesse.
Yeah, I used to go by Eli and just write ELI. People's like, Ellie? Like, don't you know what Eli? Come on, Ellie?
Ellie?
Yeah, people used to call me Ellie when I had ELI just written out. Like, Ellie,
how do you get LE out of an I?
I don't know. I'm just like, fuck it, just add the H and U on it.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, I can kind of understand it a little bit, because let's face it, Elihu, you kind of have the long hair. They can think you were feminine, transitioning.
I'm going to have to back him up on that one. I've had the long hair. Do I even come across as being someone who's transitioning?
I'm not transitioning.
Okay. See, that's the type of humor I have that gets me pissed, that gets the left side of my friends pissed off.
Well, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. Unless you're into that sort of thing.
Hey, I am not a presidential candidate. I do not like being pissed on.
Okay.
Hey, I don't understand this with the left. Where did their sense of humor go? I mean, I swear to God. Okay, let's put it this way. About 30 years ago, conservatives used to get butthurt about every joke that used to come out. Now, we can all remember and admit that when it came to conservatives. Somewhere along the line, and I don't know where, we stopped giving a shit about that stuff, and the left started getting offended about everything.
Oh, come on. Both sides get offended by so much. I mean, it's ridiculous.
In the 70s and in the 70s and but in the 70s and 80s, you got to remember SNL made fun of both sides back then.
Oh God, yes, back when they were actually funny.
Yeah, they made fun of both sides. I love the 70s and 80s SNL.
Oh hell yeah. Well, take people like, people want to talk about comedians and stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry, I grew up on things like Richard Pryor, Dennis Leary, George Carlin,
Lenny Bruce.
I don't get no respect.
Sorry, you just when you mentioned George Carlin again, because of the little kids, I installed TikTok on my phone, and because when I watch one of my kids' videos, it goes on. You get distracted and you start watching videos, and one was a video that someone had posted. It was George Carlin's 2004 rant about abortion, and the funniest thing about it was in the comments, the top comment was, this woke crap is disgusting. This guy should be killed.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, do you not know who George Carlin was?
George Carlin used to make fun of. Okay, George Carlin, Pryor, Dangerfield, Leary, all them, they made fun of everyone. Most of all, they made fun of themselves. Look at Dennis Leary. He makes fun of New York all the time.
Look at Richard Pryor. He lit a match.
Oh, yeah.
Lit a match and goes, look, I'm impressed with me on crack. Lit a match, blew it, and ran on the stage holding it like this. I'm like, come on. I mean, Reagan made fun of Robert Williams made fun of Reagan in front of Reagan.
I mean, you have people like, you have people like Jeff Foxworthy and the guy who does Bill.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that guy, Bill Engvall. And what's funny is when you hear these redneck jokes, do you know who gets the most laugh out of them? people like me, redneck, white trash rednecks. I mean, that's just what we are. And we hear these stereotypes and we laugh at them because we think they're funny. And some of them will even be like, yeah, I saw that. There's a reason why we say, hold my beer and watch this shit, because we've actually seen people say that.
MB Geek,
Oh yeah.
here's your sign.
There was a good one he did one time when his Bill Engvall said with his son. He goes, Dad, I'm gonna play a tune on the piano. Oh, what are you gonna do? A tune from Harry Potter. Oh, the movie? No, Dad, the book.
Look,
Here's your no, don't you do it, son. And I gotta love that, because even I mean, that's especially funny when comedians take to themselves, and they'll make fun of themselves. I mean, you look at it; they're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle still, and he's got some of the most funniest material because he makes fun of everything. Now, do I think everything he says is funny? No, but I find enough of it very funny. And if any of it bothers me, I'm just like, oh well, that ain't me.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna worry about
it. My problem with Dave Chappelle is I never found him funny.
Oh well,
there are certain things that a comedian I will find funny, some things about a comedian I don't find funny. Like Greg Proops, he's a great guy, good friend, funny ass as hell. But some of his jokes, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, funny, ha ha ha. People like it, yeah.
Well, comedy is subjective.
Yeah, if one person is offended, then the comedian did the job.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. If you don't get somewhat offended in some comedy show, they really did not do their job right.
Yeah, if the whole audience or most of the audience gets offended, something's wrong with the comedian. But if one person gets offended, boom, you scored. Okay, you got somebody.
Okay, but I'll give you an example of like a joke that I would consider appropriate versus inappropriate when you're talking about like a certain group of people at all. Because we joked about trans earlier, I'm going to continue with this. Say someone has the joke like, "What's the worst part of what's the worst thing about a trans person?" And you could say the punchline being something along the lines of, "They can never decide what they're going to wear that day."
Okay.
And another joke being deciding which is the best way to kill them. Dave Chappelle, to me, is the latter type of comedian. He's not saying what he's saying is not necessarily, it might be funny to certain people, but that type of joke is not funny to me because he's punching down in a way that only would be humorous to someone who already hates that group of people, not someone who's a part of that group of people.
I disagree. I don't think that that's the case.
It's kind of like making fun of somebody who's overweight in a comedy show saying, "Oh, you guys are dating? Well, make sure you avoid him like a moped."
What?
It's a bad fat joke.
I didn't even understand what you said.
You see an overweight guy. You're on stage. You see an overweight guy with a girl, and you go, "Oh, you're dating him? Well, make sure you don't mistake or catch him like a moped."
Maybe I'm misunderstanding something because it just doesn't sound funny to me.
Take a picture of a fat guy on a moped.
Okay.
It's like the old joke: having sex with a fat person is like riding a moped. They're fun to ride, but you don't want to catch you don't want your friends to catch you on one.
Okay.
Fun to ride, but you don't want your friends to catch you on it. Yeah, I know that joke.
Yeah, it's based upon that joke.
Hey, I'm gonna be the first one to admit, hey, I'm overweight. I'm now 259. I've lost 6 pounds. We'll see how long that lasts. But we used to have this guy in South Carolina. I'll never forget. This guy had to be over 300 pounds riding a moped, and I would see him all the time, and I'm like, how the fuck are those shocks holding up? I'm like, how is this thing not dragging on the ground?
What about the famous fat twins?
Oh, which ones?
The ones that was on motorcycles, the famous fat twins. Just Google Bing fat twin motorcycles. You'll find them. I forgot their names.
Hey, look, like I said, I'm an overweight guy. I admit I'm fat, and I make fat jokes about my damn self. I don't care. I was a skinny motherfucker at one time. Now I'm a fat fuck. I'll deal with it.
Like, no, you're not watching Jurassic Park. I'm just coming into the living room.
I like that. That's good. You know, that's something I miss, Mike. When I have some people who insult me on Twitter, I'll literally be like, can you please come up with something original for God's sakes? I'm like, please, if you're gonna fucking insult me, give me something original. Give me something I can be impressed with.
That was original.
Try having the screen name of Vile. Do you have any idea how many things I've gotten of people saying, well, you really are vile then? It was like, really? That was the best you can come up with? Here's a link to thesaurus.com.
Yeah, oh God, I do that too.
I have to send this to you, Mike. Get this, Andy. Last night we was going through some movie listings, and this just happened to pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed Vile and Mikey are next to each other.
Yeah, I had to take a screenshot. He couldn't do it.
Just by happenstance.
Well, it cracks me up when I have all these people. It's like, oh, well, Grandpa, I guess you're not long for this world. I'm like, I'm 42 years old.
I'll send it to you right now, but hang on a second. Let me do my mail.
All right, I meant to take a screen grab from it, but I fell asleep around midnight. So,
okay, check your DM. I'm about to send it.
I think I crashed out around 9 o'clock. Oh God, I crashed out around 9 o'clock last night. No, I crashed out about 8. Woke up at 10. Took up a couple of hits. Woke back up again at 4:15. And I was like, saw it was 4:15. I was like, okay, I'm screwed. I'm up. I just know how my body works. But I love comedy, and I don't care about getting me fun. Fuck, I'm the guy who has no problem taking the butt of most jokes because
you like taking it in the butt? Funny. Wow, somebody clip that.
I said I don't mind being the butt of
jokes.
Oh, okay, I misheard.
No, I don't swing that way, Elihu. Despite that, I've had many gay men try to change me.
Oh, I'm sure there's at least one gay man out there that could change me, but I don't know if he's here.
Well, there was one guy I remember telling my wife. I was like, we had this one guy who showed up at our unit. We had a lot in common, and we're good friends still. But I told my wife, I was like, man, if I was gay, I'd be hitting on him like a motherfucker.
No, one of the jokes my buddies have is we'd go gay tomorrow if it wasn't for the sex.
Yeah, that's probably about right. But the thing is like, you know, I don't get this. It's like, oh, heteros hate, you know, or whatever, cis or whatever. I'm just like, would you shut the fuck up? Just because I don't agree with something doesn't mean I hate the person. It just means I don't like the lifestyle. Fuck. Most of the people on the left hate my guts for my ideology alone.
Some people who are gay don't like the idea of heterosexuality being stuffed in their face. So hello, it works on both sides.
Well, it's like we said, we just want, you know, when it comes to TV, you can have gay, you can have trans, you can have bi characters, you can have characters of color. You can have all that represented. Just tell a good fucking story.
Don't freak out because there's a black elf in Lord of the Rings TV show. Oh my gosh, a black character in Lord of the Rings. I mean, take Anto, for instance. He's like, I never noticed anything when I was growing up about this. And all of a sudden there's a black person mixed with white people. People freak the fuck out. I'm like, yeah, get over it. It's a good story.
Well, I can't say this new Rings of Power is a good story. I watched the first episode. Well, didn't really.
17 minutes till we get to the title screen? No. But I like the opening sequence, though. But it was 17 minutes long. I'm like, come on.
I thought it was I don't know. I didn't really like the main character, Gragiel. She rubbed me the wrong way in a lot of areas.
I've only seen the first episode so far.
Yeah, that's all I saw too, was the first episode. And I said, yeah, this is probably not going to be for me. On a side note, I am actually enjoying House of the Dragon, and
Have not seen it yet. It's on my queue.
And I haven't seen either one.
I've seen the first 3 episodes. I'm enjoying it very well, which is surprising to me because I found Game of Thrones, especially the first season, ungodly fucking boring. I did. I found the whole Game of Thrones series overall very boring, really just not that good, and not really an interest of mine. I just binged it because it was ending and my daughter was hyped about it. And I was like, okay, I'll fucking watch this thing. Because I tried watching it before and I got 6 episodes in the first season and I was like, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah, where are the dragons? Where are the dragons?
I didn't even care about that. Dude, when I got to the last episode, the second to last episode, after binging it, and then the next day was the final episode, I was like, after watching the second to last episode, I was like, I have a feeling a lot of diehard Game of Thrones fans are going to be pissed. And turned out I was right.
Yeah.
Although I wish when I was right about something, it would be a good thing and not a shit thing. But no, I'm actually generally enjoying House of Dragons so far.
Yeah, I was told you didn't have to really watch the original show to understand or follow what's going on. And I
don't remember
the last season of Game of Thrones.
Well, I can't remember much of jack shit about the original Game of Thrones, so I don't remember much about it. But yeah, I'm kind of getting through this without too much issue. I'm enjoying it overall. It's 3 episodes in. I wish HBO wouldn't have the episodes dropping at 9 p.m. because I'm usually asleep at that time. So I have to wait till the morning. And then, I'll be honest with you about this. She-Hulk is not bad. It's just okay. That's really the best I can say about it.
People did not realize that She-Hulk was not advertised as an action show. It was advertised as a lawyer show, which it is actually doing.
But the problem is, when it comes to the MCU, people are so used to them being great. Being okay is worse than being bad.
Well, my biggest issue with the show has been, and honestly, the woke shit that they have in there. I'm kind of like, okay, she's a lawyer. She has insecurities. Some of the other people around her are lawyers. They have egos. Some of them are men. I'm like, yeah, these are lawyers. That's kind of par for the course. I mean, you'd kind of want your lawyer to have an ego, and be positive and stuff. And I'm just watching the episodes, and my biggest issue, honestly, is they're advertised at 37 minutes or 35 minutes, but a minute and a half is previously on She-Hulk. Yeah. And then like 6 to 7 minutes of it is credits.
Yeah, I know.
So it's really only a 20-minute show or a 25-minute show. And before you blink, it's over. And it sometimes feels a bit rushed. Whereas I watched Cobra Kai this weekend, season 5, which are about 30 minutes long from start to finish. And it, like it has done the last 4 seasons, paced well, had a great story. The characters were, again, fleshed out good. And it's one of those shows where, critics and audiences are both agreeing. It's like, look, you've got diversity. You've got LA. You've got this diverse group of people. And, okay, they focus on the story, not necessarily on the diversity, what color this person is or what sexuality this person is.
Yeah, but I don't like the premise of the show. Like, one guy upset because one moment in his teenage life ruined his whole entire life because one thing happened because of damn immigrants. I don't like the sort of precedence of that storyline.
Oh, I thought that was funny as all hell because me and LDG actually watched the first 2 episodes because they were free on YouTube still.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I watched it. And to me, God, and I'm not trying to, be insulting to NB because he's the closest person that might fit this characteristic, even though he doesn't. Johnny Lawrence fits the conservative incel mentality perfectly and is playing a villain protagonist, which is fucking awesome.
Ralph Macchio is playing himself, basically.
Yes. But I thought that was, what a great way to make your protagonist a despicable person in one line.
Well, I thought one of his lines was best when he was talking to Hawk, who he was calling Lip at the time. And he's like, "Are you one of those special kids?" The doctor says, "I'm on a spectrum." "Well, I don't know what that is, but you better get off it pronto." And my wife and I just started laughing. And my wife and I are both conservatives. And yes, Johnny does in a lot of ways, except for his ignorance on modern technology.
The ignorant.
Yeah. He does kind of talk away a lot of us, sometimes talk. When we're just like, look, I don't care what you think about me. But, the fact of the matter is we've actually seen these characters. Even in season 5, we get more backstory on Kreese. We get more on Johnny. They bring in so many legacy characters. Like, for example, they brought in the girl that Danny was not dating in Karate Kid 3, but she actually shows up in in one of the episodes. And it's actually kind of funny how it comes about. It's not funny humor. It's just kind of like, oh, I see how they made this connection here. And John Silver and Kreese, you get more out of that. Tori's character growth goes. The one kid who joined Cobra Kai the last season, I cannot think of his name now. I cannot think of his name. Sam. And what I love about it is you started out with the legacy characters. You started bringing in the new characters and gave them time to grow, gave everybody time to breathe, and I've been continuing to do that for 5 seasons. And you've got your diversity. You've just got a good, tight story going with it, with good actors, good characters, good writing and directing.
Yeah, I'll still pass.
It's not for everybody, bud.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing, man. I don't get into that kind of crap where it's like, oh, you need to watch this. It's like, no, you're not interested. You're not interested. I'm not going to sit here and I'll tell you why I like it, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you why you should like it. I can't do that shit.
Yeah, like I tell everybody, if you don't like Love and Thunder, you don't like Love and Thunder. I liked it because of one aspect: Christian Bale's fucking performance. That was the best thing about the movie.
Actually, no, go ahead, Elihu. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if you didn't like the storyline, you didn't like the storyline. If you like any of the acting about it, like, no, I don't like, period. Like, not even Christian Bale. Come on, you really couldn't tell it was him. Even without the makeup, you couldn't tell it was he would in a perfect role as Gore.
I saw that. I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, I think Friday, because it dropped on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it in theater. I admit I was disappointed with Doctor Strange, and I didn't really care for the trailer of Thor. But when I watched the episode, I was like, okay. Well, everybody was like, how did Jane become worthy of Mjolnir? I'm like, well, that was actually explained if you were paying attention in the movie.
Yep.
It was actually plain as goddamn day right there. I don't think Thor realized he was harnessing his father's, power to imbue Mjolnir with something like, Odin did with the hammer back in Thor 1. But yeah. I caught that reference right off the bat. I'm like, oh!
Yep.
Yeah, that's why. Okay. That's why with the kids, he's like, for a limited time only.
Yeah, it's just for a limited time only.
I like that part. Yeah, I like that.
I did like that part. I actually I didn't mind the fact that the Guardians weren't there for a lot of the movie. I was actually kind of glad they weren't. I think that would have just put too much in. I like Natalie Portman. I remember all the way back from what was that French movie she was in? The Professional. Well, that's the American term for it. But I remember her all the way back in that. And I overall enjoyed it. I like how she kind of was coming up with these silly catchphrases and things like that. And I'm like, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is her first time. She's a little excited. And I mean, she's probably got some euphoria of finally feeling good, considering she's at stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at it from a different perspective. And I'm like, she's dying. She's a smart ass scientist, but she probably knows this is an exercise in futility. Mjolnir called. Mjolnir is allowing her to stay alive, healthy, at least temporarily, doing what Mjolnir's job was. And I thought she was a decent addition. I didn't really have an issue with. I didn't have issues with the movie like I thought it would. Although the annoying yaks were.
The sheep.
Yeah, the sheep were really annoying. That's about the one thing I couldn't stand.
It was from the comics, Thor sheep. So.
And I'll be honest with you, I found it annoying, but I also found it funny each time they did it.
I just found it annoying, but that's now as far as Christian Bale. Yeah, he brought a pretty dark tone to a more comical, kind of movie, which I was glad they kind of stuck with that from Thor 3 because I love that kind of fucking music. And I do love Kronk saying,
okay,
oh yeah, he's, look at Thor. He's lost his dad and his mom. He lost his mom, then his dad and his brother twice. And this guy.
And that guy.
And that guy. Yeah. You got the brothers 3, and it's like, oh yeah, these guys that nobody remembers. Which is true. Nobody remembers their goddamn names.
I'm not going to discount Christian Bale's performance, but I just got to say, can Marvel stop humanizing these fucking villains to the point where you're on their side half the time?
I wasn't on his side at all. Oh shit! Yeah, they tried to do that. That is the biggest thing that killed me with Falcon and Winter Soldier, was trying to humanize that terrorist. And
her Kali, yeah.
No,
I'm sorry.
Okay. That specific one I was okay with until they had them do shit that didn't accomplish anything to do with their goals. They were doing villain shit for the sake of villain shit when they were actually supposed to be a sympathetic villain. No, give me a Thanos that doesn't want to just save people. I want a Thanos who just wants to kill half the universe because he wants to kill half the fucking universe. I want a Thor the God Butcher to kill gods because he just hates gods so fucking much. I don't want it because my daughter died.
I'd give you that one.
Stop humanizing them. I want a villain that can just be wailed on for a good set action piece.
Yeah, but you want a good villain. You don't just want a one-note villain. I mean, if you want a one-note villain, we could.
You want a good comic book villain? Fucking Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, William Dafoe, Spider-Man 1. He is one note all to hell, and he is fucking fantastic.
What about the fight scenes in Love of Thunder? There wasn't no one-itis. There were actually 2-on-1, 3-on-1. Come on, there was no one-itis fights.
I don't know. I wanted to see, Thor defeated by the villain and overcome that. Not, I'm just going to take care of the person I love. I mean, yeah, I liked that scene, but it was so misplaced. It's go ahead, destroy the world. I'm losing somebody else. No, I don't want to see that. I want to see that after you've kicked his ass.
I don't know. I thought overall it was decent. I didn't feel Thor was overshadowed by the other characters, unlike in Doctor Strange, where it seemed like Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and American Chavez were pretty much
The main characters.
The main characters, and you know, Benedict Cumberbatch, who is a unbelievably fantastic actor in my opinion, and is versatile in so many ways, was basically sidelined for his own movie. And the other part I didn't like is you had to watch WandaVision to actually know really what the fuck was going on in the movie. And I'm kind of like, guys, I don't like that. That to me is okay. I understand you have to watch a movie, you know, in the sequence when we were going through the Infinity Saga. Okay, I got that. But when you're telling me I got to watch a TV show to understand the movie, that's like saying, that's like in Star Wars when it's like, well, what the hell was going on with this character? How'd this happen? Oh, you have to wait for the book to come out. It's like, go fuck yourself. I don't want to have to do that.
See, one thing I hate. What I didn't like is, sorry for interrupting you, Eli, but what I didn't like about Doctor Strange was it undid all the character growth that Wanda had at the end of WandaVision. They just wanted an excuse to make her the villain, but she already was the villain and asked her victims for an apology, didn't get it, but they were like, no, we're going to turn her back into the villain, and she's going to be trying to do the same thing she was doing beforehand, except this time, instead of her husband, it's her kids. No, you just ruined it for me.
The one thing I really hated about the Infinity Saga part was Benedict Cumberbatch and or Robert Downey Jr. never said to each other, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, we know that joke.
Yeah.
Hell, I think you've said it on this stream before.
Well, one of the issues with WandaVision was that, and I said this, I think I did a video on this about Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. And I did it after WandaVision, and I kind of point out the fact I really went into her mental psyche, because honestly, Wanda was just fucking broken from the time we met her, and she was only somewhat glued back together with maybe Vision, because she went down so many wrong paths with her brother Pietro, and then after Vision dies and she comes back from the snap, and it's 5 years later. I mean, this woman's already screwed up enough. How much more can her psyche really take? And I think the whole having the kids thing, and then her finding out there are other multiverses out there where the kids exist. And yeah, it was kind of a selfish way to go about it. I agree with that. It probably wasn't the best plot. But that was kind of all planned out in WandaVision. But yeah, that's like I said, my problem is you had to watch that to really understand what was going on. And I mean, not everybody's going to have Disney Plus or watch these shows. And to me, saying I got to watch a TV series, okay, that's like saying I got to watch, it's like I said, that's like I got to read a book to get the rest of the story. It's like, no, why didn't you put the damn story in the book?
And there he goes again.
And he went out again. Like I said, when it comes to She-Hulk, I like the actress. I liked her in Orphan Black. I thought she's fantastic.
Oh, I found some faults with She-Hulk. I'm like, for instance, her hair. It's curly as Jen, all of a sudden it's long and straight as She-Hulk. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, you noticed that too, huh?
The courtroom fight. Her tight white blouse does not rip. What?
Yeah.
I have no idea what just happened. I lost internet. So what part of my rant did you guys not hear?
Everything.
I don't know. You were out for about 30 seconds or so.
Ah, fuck. Oh, well.
Wanda,
I'll take this on my birthday.
is there something
August
special
23rd.
about today? There on the calendar, someone's drawn a little heart right above today's date.
Well, don't tell me you have forgotten, Viz.
Forgotten? Oh, Wanda, I'm incapable of forgetfulness. I remember everything. That's not an exaggeration. In fact, I'm incapable of exaggeration.
Well, then tell me what's so important about today's date.
What was the question again? Oh, well, perhaps you've forgotten yourself.
Yay, heavens no. I've been so looking forward to it.
As have I. Today, we are celebrating.
It's my birthday!
You know, there is something I will say I did kind of enjoy in WandaVision, those little tropes of the different generations of TV shows.
Yeah, with the wire.
Yes, I did enjoy that.
Well, I enjoyed it because I grew up, you know, watching Nick at Night and things like that. So I grew up.
Yep, same here.
You know, I grew up watching Mr. Ed, Donna Reed. In fact, I won my wife over, I think, when one day she said she was saying a few things to me that she had done. And I go, you're a regular Donna Reed. And my wife was like, you know who Donna Reed is? I'm like, yeah, I used to watch the show all the time on Nick at Night. I used to watch that, Mr. Ed, Dennis the Menace. I didn't like My Three Sons. That was one I did not like, especially when it went to color.
Oh.
But yeah, I used to love watching Nick at Night more than I enjoyed watching Nickelodeon.
Yeah, they had I Dream of Jeannie on there, Bewitched.
Oh yeah, they did have those too.
I Love Lucy.
Patty Duke Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a lot of good stuff on back in the day, and I would watch them all the time. You know, that was literally my summers was I got to stay up late, so I got to watch Nick at Night. That was actually a treat for me. Yeah, I'm a 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, whatever kid, and I'm watching black and white shows, and I'm enjoying them.
Hey, I'm going to take off because I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I was actually thinking to end the stream about 5 minutes ago, but we started. I got it. Fuck it. I can't even talk now.
Your internet was messed up, just like your voice.
Yes.
And your mind and your mouth. And your
Oh
mouth.
shit! It's 2:00. I need to eat some food too. Shit.
Yeah, I need to eat.
I think we all need to eat.
In the last over 24 hours, actually almost 36 hours, the only thing I've had to eat is those 6 slices of pizza that I had yesterday during the live stream.
Well, the only thing I've had to eat since yesterday was the 2 hamburgers I had. So
I had some chicken masala last night. That's the last thing I ate.
Well, I ate food. I didn't eat breakfast, but I definitely need to eat some fucking lunch.
Yeah, I didn't eat breakfast and I'm hungry.
You didn't go get your little coffee and thing at the store?
A muffin? No, I just started my scooter, so I don't feel like going to the pastry shop. I don't feel like walking down there.
Yeah, I got you there.
Well, I'm going to go get some food. Padres hit a home run yesterday, despite, I think, losing, because they were down a bunch of points last time I heard.
Giants beat the Cubbies. Yeah.
But at least we get a free jumbo jack at Jack in the Box today. So I'm going to go do that. And if anyone's actually still watching or anyone gets to this point on a rewatch, which according to my statistics, only about 4 people do a month.
Hi, 4 weirdos.
I'm gonna keep posting stuff to the eBay store and that kind of stuff. So I'll be doing that the rest of the day. So I'll just finish up with later, folks.
Later, weirdos.